Alrighty, everybody. Welcome on into the Central Committee stream with your host, Mike from PA. It is Friday once again. What a beautiful day. Our friend Francesca Hong has gotten her a profile in the New York Times. Ho, 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 baby. We've done it. We've done it, folks. We're coming home. It's great because, you know, obviously I don't take credit for Francesca's primary in any way. Well, maybe a little bit. We got a hype train. Well, that's an opportunity for you guys to get a cheap conductor badge. The morning hype train is where you can get like the 200 bit and like 5 gifted sub conductor badge. So take advantage. I am so proud of this community. You know, obviously we have the best analysis around. We punch way above our weight, and we're going to do more, right? Which over the course of this weekend, I wanna, if you're in LA, Mike from PA Head, we need to make sure that you're joining DSA, and I want you, we're gonna start organizing IRL, okay? Do you understand me? I humbly submit myself for the Order of Romeo. I am proof of this community's growth and effectiveness over my 5 years here. Solidarity forever. Oh, amazing. What new DSA caucus are you gonna found? We'll figure it out. We might have to form a new Gramscian caucus, or I might join something that's already existing if they'll support me. You know, we'll see. Not the Trotsky's caucus. Hey, Mike, what a coincidence. I'm moving to LA. Hell yeah. I think that I'm spiritually mug, but they have some like bad take. Like they really pissed me off with their sewer socialism lies, which was based off of some like inter-caucus drama. And I consider that a personal insult. So, you know, it's just one guy. It's not Mug's entire fault, but that article was absolute propaganda bullshit. Shameful. Mike from the beach that makes you old, LOL, huh? Please retweet. Even though there's 0 likes on your post, I'm still doing it. Have you guys noticed that Hassan haters always end up posing up to Destiny? Are we groundwork? I'm new to DSA. Don't worry about caucuses right now. Hassan said you went to beach that makes you old. Huh? I have no idea what that means. Oh, Bill de Blasio is you if you got cleaned up, went to the old beach and got cleaned up. I mean, couple things here. First, Bill de Blasio is like tall as fuck. It's second of all, his wife, isn't she like a bisexual black woman? And there is, I mean, like, honestly, there is no Zohran Mamdani without Bill de Blasio. He's the most underrated mayor of New York of all time. Oh, did they get divorced? Oh no. That's very Mike coded. Bill de Blasio kind of looks like me. He looks like a second cousin or something. Didn't the NYPD arrest his daughter? Yeah, for BLM protesting. Hassan was making a joke. It's time for you to get cleaned up to be palatable to the normies. Listen, this is like when, whenever you get more popular, you have to take your style more seriously. I don't care, which is a style, but it's not a popular style. You know what I mean? Like, it signals a certain type of antisocial behavior, which has utility, but then it also doesn't. Did you hear about the guy who self-immolated in front of the UN concerning Tibet? I did now. You need to visit a beach that makes you more palatable. So true. Honestly, I'm not even insulted by that. I do need to improve a few things. I think it'll just make me more popular. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's wrong. Like, when people tell you something who care about you, it's not an attack, you know? It's not trying to cut me down to size or anything. It's like legitimately, you should honestly take it in and go, you know what? What can I do that's not that much effort that will improve our presentation? You know, it is what it is. I think you could do with more light in your studio. Yeah, I actually hate my studio. I despise it, and the lighting is terrible, and the camera position is bad, and all sorts of other things that are things that I should care about, but I don't. I don't know if it's ADHD or I just don't care. Like, I notice it, I'm like, yeah, I should improve this, and then I just don't ever have the dopamine to do it, I guess. I don't know. but it could still be a little hurtful. I honestly don't get hurt by that kind of thing. I am like, if I honestly, like, maybe this is like autism or something, but I feel like if I believe a person's motivations are not bad, then I don't get offended. I get offended by people having, not having bad intent. That offends me. Somebody saying something like that might bruise your ego, but is like their honest opinion that is intended in a good way. That's not gonna hurt my ego. Okay, chat. This is my 6-year prediction on Destiny, and it's coming true. This is how much I know Destiny's soul. This is how much I own him. Wildly towards Joe Biden, and Trump loses days later as the mail-in votes were counted. If this were a regular Republican, they might just go, well, that's the way it works, and they would step down. Donald Trump will claim it was rigged, and will do everything to fight. Oh, never mind. This is a different prediction. This is me predicting January 6th. People don't know that I predicted January 6th. People don't know that I predicted January 6th. Isn't that funny? Wildly towards Joe Biden, and Trump loses days later as the mail-in votes were counted. If this were a regular Republican, they might just go, well, that's the way it works, and they would step down. Donald Trump will claim it was rigged, and will do everything to fight mail-in ballots, and Barr will help him. We are heading towards this. This will fucking happen. Unless we get what? Well, we didn't get whatever I said unless towards. But yeah, I definitely predicted January 6th. That's another thing. Whatever. I mean, who cares? Again, I can predict everything every day. It doesn't matter if these people don't like your vibes. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter. You're still doing the hair touch even with short hair. That's how I know it's you. Yeah, it's my whatever stems. I have like, I don't know what it is, but I have like my nose feels dry, or I don't know what it is. It's not that. That's not right, but I just get a stem to touch my face. Should I add it to the supercut? Oh, we have a supercut? Doing this. Like, there is, honestly, I would recommend, we don't even really need this. I want you to understand you just be like, I make a lot of good predictions, man. Like, I want you guys to understand that no one else is doing this. Like, there isn't another numbers guy who's getting it like this. He predicted 49 out of the 50 states in 2020. Here's what I need. I need better lighting, better camera position. What else? Better layout of the stream itself. I need to start acting like now that since I have long hair, I can't act like a man, in the sense that when you have super short hair, you can kind of like roll out of bed and like go to work. But when you have long hair, you really shouldn't do that. You have to I should put on a bonnet when I go to sleep. That's another thing I should do. Like, I need to go more diva mode. Like, I have to take care of my hair. I need to clean my facial hair up, figure out what I want to do with it. Do I have a skincare routine? Do you think I have any vanity at all? Like, do you think that I care about that shit at all? Washing your face is just like washing your hands or ass, though. I mean, kind of, but that's not what people mean when they say skincare. They mean like putting on tretinoin and like other fucking skincare serums. Get a stylist to fix it. Ugh. Unfortunate reality is people pay more attention to what is good and well presented people have to say. Abso-fucking-lutely. Abso-fucking-lutely true. Abso-fucking-lutely true. The thing is, I can understand something and also not change. You know what I mean? Like, just because you intellectually understand something doesn't mean you're going to take the necessary steps to fix it. How many people know how to be in shape but don't actually do it? Because there's a difference between knowing how to do a thing and actually doing the thing. It's not even about being stubborn. It's just you have to actually create the path dependencies. You have to actually do the thing. You can't just... There's a lot of things I know how to do and I should do, but I'm not doing. You know what I get? You know what I'm saying, chat? Peepo smiles on the chat, if you get what I'm putting down. Not a fan of this YouTube, but I think it's a decent video to react to Trump's festival. Adam Mockler.
There's a list of what people can't even...
Are you fucking kidding me? I would rather quit streaming for life. If you see me reacting to Adam Mockler, something has gone wrong. Something has gone absolutely wrong. Not react to him, but the video he chose to show. How about you just give me the video? Anyway, so what was I saying? My prediction.
Michael from Pennsylvania's prediction is Nevada, Arizona, done deal. North Carolina, Georgia, done deal. PA and Michigan?
Predicted Zoran Mamdani. I should have just predicted all against Kamala, but I just didn't. I doubted myself. I was like, she's gonna lose horribly. Then I was like, well, are you being a little bit negative? Like, I was like, she won't lose every swing state, right? So I gave her Wisconsin because to me that felt like the closest state, and it actually was the closest state, but she also lost it. So I was right about that. I didn't want to just be like, she loses everything, because it felt like Tim Pool posting. So I doubted myself, and then therefore I got an error, which sucks. I thought that the Iowa poll, I didn't believe the Iowa poll. Like, if you guys look at my tweets, I was like, that poll seems fucking wrong. But I thought you could still divine something from it, which is the idea that the Midwest, upper middle class, white, educated, moderate was maybe more anti-Trump than we thought. And there might be a little bit of motion there. And I thought Wisconsin was the most likely to flip based on that. I am curious how many elections all swing states go the same way. I would guess it's actually pretty common. The answer to that is it depends. But yes, 2000 is pretty rare. 2004 is pretty rare. Usually there is a pretty strong national thermostatic reaction. Very close elections are actually pretty rare. And what they're a sign of is a country that is in decline because all of the coalitions don't have a reasonable strategy to solve problems. The reason why we're divided is because our leadership is intellectually bankrupt and neither of them can actually give change. So people are oscillating around the two parties because neither one is actually offering any policies that are any good. Does that make sense? So, like, if California, for example, under Gavin Newsom was clearly far and away more functional than every other state, then it would make sense for people to want to vote for Gavin Newsom. If Florida was far and away more functional than every other state, then it would make sense to want to vote for the Florida governor, right? Ron DeSantis. But neither one of them are functional. Both of them have massive problems that have gone unaddressed for 8+ years. The average person is not better off, and they have significant problems with basic social services and government functions. So it makes sense that people are not, clearly tracking to either side. I mean, they're just both bad at their jobs. His exact margin in the primary, 56%.
Zoran Mamdani, the 33-year-old Democratic Social.
Random question. What would you say about a state like Missouri with Trump's approval rating? Crazy watch the trajectory from Obama almost winning the state to now. When I look at states like Florida, Ohio, Missouri, Indiana, and Iowa, I ask myself, what makes these places unique compared to, why were they swing states before and they aren't now? Well, the answer is they're overwhelmingly white. And the consequences of, Obama's presidency was the rise of white racial identity politics that comes from the South becoming kind of colonizing the rest of the country, specifically the Midwest, the Rust Belt especially. So white people in Ohio, they used to vote like white people from, Pennsylvania. Now they're starting to vote like white people from Kentucky. And as white people, if like white racial politics successfully colonizes the North, then we're fucking cooked. The math is just not there. Like, if white people start voting like they're from Alabama, then fascism will win the election. And I think one of the problems that we have in the left in general is an aversion to numbers. It's a serious problem. And a kind of irresponsibility with trying to ground your shit in real information, which is why I'm so much better than everyone else, because I actually do that and I'm not threatened by them. Better at making predictions, not better in every way. Just the reason why my predictions hit is because I'm grounding my shit in numbers and my ego can handle losing. I'm not a person that has to avoid I don't avoid bad news. I don't have a psychological, I can handle it. I've cultivated the ability to handle bad news. Humble Mike in the early. Well, yeah, I'm not trying to be an egomaniac. I'm just saying that the reason why we're able in this community to come up with better answers is because we're not scared of bad news. We can take it on the fucking chin, And because we can do that, It also makes us smarter. So all I'm trying to say is, if white people are thinking about voting on their race, then they become like Missouri, right? If white people are thinking about something else when they vote, they end up like Vermont. So if the white identity is like being brought forward to the front of people's brains and it becomes the organized operative identity, then they become fascist. That's why they spend so much time doing it. And so like, to be a good anti-racist is about annihilating that identity as an operative identity. Having people thinking about something else, like for example, their class or some other organizing principle. If they're organizing around whiteness, then we're fucking cooked. It's very bad. But what I'm trying to do is not have that happen. And you know, woke one, it obviously has, you know, that's the backlash. It's not that the arguments of woke one are wrong. They're just making bad arguments. And what I find interesting is like when I say bad arguments, I mean bad in the persuasion side, not necessarily factually. This is another problem the left has. The left is more concerned with whether an argument is correct than it is persuasive. That is a massive failure. People get attached to slogans, for example. And it's like, a slogan is not a policy. So why are you getting attached to a slogan? It's like ACAB or abolish the police or whatever. Those are slogans. They're not policy. Power is exercised through policies. Slogans are there to persuade. If a slogan is not persuading people to give you power, then it has no utility. Get rid of it, try something new. That's where Zoran is good at this. The problem is we have a lot of people that are not very intelligent, and they don't have a good theory of mind. I think it has to do with untreated narcissism, which is basically like, if I like a slogan, it must be a good slogan, rather than trying it, seeing how everybody reacts to it and going, okay, that worked or that didn't work. And like having the ability to look at somebody else and say, okay, if I say this thing and it causes them to not like me, I should probably try a different argument. But the way they do it is they moralize. If somebody doesn't like abolish the police, people then try to put labels on them as bad. That is why they fail. As opposed to going, okay, maybe this person doesn't know what I mean by abolish because it's clearly good and it has good outcomes and it's moral. So what people want to do is shortcut to the person doesn't agree with me, therefore they're bad. Instead of going, okay, maybe this argument is not hitting. I should try something else. And in fact, they want to make you into a bad person for thinking about stuff like I just explained. You get what I mean? Like at the very, very beginning of my stream, I've been saying this, and people would call me a class reductionist. And I would be like, no, I'm not a class reductionist. I just don't believe that you should use slogans that are not working. The slogan is hurting you. Change it. The one that's helping. Question is the policies. And, you know, ultimately, that's where I disagree with a large portion of people. And I'm very concerned. Like, this is why I want to ask you guys, why do people become attached to slogans? Why do they think slogans matter as opposed to the actual policy / holding power / you know what I mean? Like having our people win. It's like moral high ground addiction. Yeah, it's easy to say nostalgia, sunk cost fallacy. You might be asking the wrong people. Most of us are like you on this. I'm just trying to explain it. So maybe if you have a conversation with someone in the future and they're like, Zoran says that Israel has a right to exist as a state with equal rights. He's a Zionist. You go, no, he's actually saying anti-Zionism. Zionism is the idea that there should be a Jewish supremacist state in the Levant that displaces the indigenous population and brings in colonizers. If you say it's a state with equal rights, that's the same thing as saying not Israel. It is a expression of the idea of human universals, which Israel stands in firm opposition to. It's like asking Nelson Mandela if South Africa has the right to exist, and he replies, as a state without apartheid. That's another way of saying no, but in an attractive way that people understand. Now they understand it's getting to the heart of why you oppose Israel. And the defenders of Israel are trying to obfuscate that. That's why they're talking about the right to exist, because they want people to think about individual citizens of Israel being killed, which is not the question you're answering. So if you say, I want a state with equal rights for all, where no religion has prime place, you are saying destroy Israel, but in a way that normal people will hear and go, that's a good idea. I like that idea. You seem like a good person. But if you say, destroy Israel, annihilate the entity, glory to the resistance, they think you mean violence and war and murder and death and blood. Maybe you do mean that. But when you say those things, regular people don't like those things. They imagine their family members being forced to go to a war or terrorism or bombs exploding at a cafe or a bus and violence and death and randomness. And that is not what we're not advocating for those things. We are saying, however, that the Palestinian people deserve the right to self-determination. And in order to get that, we only support Israel if it's a state with equal rights, which the Zionists will be forced to oppose. And then they become the unhinged racists. And then when we're saying, wow, look how unhinged and racist the Israelis are, we shouldn't give them any aid. We shouldn't let them buy any weapons. We should sanction Israel. That's an apartheid state. We should sanction that Israel. Ooh, settlers are trying to go over there and sell land. We should arrest those people. Do you see how when the conversation becomes about the nature of the Israeli state, we win? If the conversation becomes about how we think violence is justified or whatever, then you would lose the argument. Because yes, under international law, an occupied people have the untrammeled right to resist. That is a fact of international law. Palestinian resistance against Israeli occupation is legal under international law. But if you focus on that, it seems like you are the person that supports violence, when in fact you are the person that supports peace. Because we understand that peace only comes from what? From the absence of injustice. So when we're having conversations this way, we win, right? But for a lot of people, it's not really about changing minds or even hurting Israel. It's about an expression of emotional catharsis. I see an image of a Palestinian child murdered, and it fills me with impotent rage, heavy on the impotent. What can I do? Well, if I gather 20 people together and we go outside some sort of visibly Israeli institution and we chant, "We like Hamas," now it feels like we're doing something. And that's what they're after. A resolution of their internal psychological torment and a physical and emotional distancing from the crimes of our own country. I don't think of politics like that. I think about politics like, Israel is killing kids with my money. I'm going to get my money to stop funding Israel. And here's how my money is determined to go to Israel. I'm going to attack the sources of Israeli power in this country through any means necessary, including and especially voting. Like, if you're willing to go out there and chant you support Hamas, why aren't you willing to take 5 minutes every couple years to vote for someone who says they will strip Israel of money and weapons? Even if you think it has a low chance of succeeding, why is that so fucking hard? And why do you think organizing to do that is such a waste of time? I mean, that's just silly to me. Your job, just quit your job and stop paying taxes and don't reproduce to support the state. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got the ultimate Maoist. The funniest thing about Maoists is they don't like Chairman Mao, the actual Chairman Mao. They're kind of like, a Maoist is stealing valor, by the way. They're stealing Chairman Mao's valor. They don't really actually like Chairman Mao or Mao. They're specifically talking about the period of the Cultural Revolution, and that's what they're talking about. They like the Cultural Revolution. They think it's based. They're not talking about Mao as a leader and, you know, his thought. It's more about a snapshot in time of the Cultural Revolution of China, and they want to replicate that here. That's all it is. It's not I study Mao's thought, you know, and I see the compromises of the pragmatism and the theory of warfare and revolution and blah 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 blah. It's like, no, I want to do dunce caps. That's what it is. That took me a really long time to figure out, by the way. Like that, I was always like, how come everybody who calls themselves a Maoist doesn't seem to actually agree with Mao on anything? I was like, oh, they're LARPing as Red Guards. Oh, God. Why did that take me so long to figure out? Embarrassingly long. Mike, have you seen that Congress blocked a resolution to deny the amendment of the bill that includes merging Israel and American military intelligence infrastructure? This will make it almost impossible to decouple from Israel, even if events change. First of all, it's never impossible. Any law that's passed could be unpassed. Secondly, it's not good. I mean, I always assumed that Israel had all of America's like stuff already. You know what I mean? Like, I always assumed they already had all of us completely penetrated and they were stealing all our secrets already. You know what I mean? Like, I never 3,000 less subs, huh? Actually, I'm pretty much where I've been for a year. I'm at 6618. I mean, I'm not as high as like my highest ever months. That's true, but around 7,000 is pretty high for me. That's not that low. I decided to take the plunge and become a card-carrying DSA member yesterday. I paid my first dues and ordered my car. Oh, the video. Yeah, this was like, I don't remember. We had an oiler that was going crazy. We had a specific oiler that was going crazy. You know what I'm saying? It happened.
Who claimed a surprising victory in the New York City mayoral Democratic.
Surprising landslide. And by the way, chat, tomorrow we're getting the ranked choice votes. Tomorrow we get the ranked choice votes.
This isn't even my good Zoran prediction. This is my Zoran prediction after he won. I said a Zoran prediction, I think on Twitter, where I called 56%. And then I did another Zoran prediction where I said he was going to win on Twitter and on stream, like way before everybody else. Where like, this is like actually the worst version of my Zoran prediction, but it's okay. It's fine.
And let me tell you, can't wait to see the landslide that we get, because you think it's good now. Wait till tomorrow when he gets 56% of the vote.
Predict US has Plattner at -150 right now. That means he's a favorite, right? Or that he's slightly unfavored. Is it plus or minus for favorite? I can't remember. You have to bet 150 to win 100. Yeah, no, of course, Plattner's a massive favorite. I got to take for a second here. Guys, you know Graham Plattner is like the most likely candidate to flip a seat, right? Like no one else is, like Graham Plattner is the #1 flip against a sitting incumbent. North Carolina, it's an open seat. Michigan, it's an open seat. Like the most likely flip is Maine. Now, North Carolina would be a flip, but he's not running against an incumbent, so it's an easier race. Plattner's the only one running against an incumbent that's like leading in the polls. Everybody else who's running against an incumbent is losing. Like there is some sort of like mass gaslighting campaign going on. Graham Plattner has been leading in almost every single poll against Susan Collins. I think there's like 1 or 2 where he hasn't. He just had one this week where he was winning against Susan Collins, while all the other Democrats were losing. Rico was losing. The guy in Iowa was losing. Sherrod Brown was losing. Like, I don't know if people are just like on Twitter and they got crack and they got tricked by the centrist spam, but he is winning, right? Like maybe it's actually going to cause him to start losing because people have been tricked. You got tricked by Israel spam, but like he's been leading the entire time. Abdul is running in an open seat that was formerly held by a Democrat. Like his job of winning is much easier than running against a incumbent, because Mike Rogers is a fucking loser who just lost to Slotkin. Like he just lost during Trump's wave. He's not going to beat whoever wins the Michigan primary is going to win. Like, are we okay? Abdul's going to get 100% of the vote in Dearborn. There's about to be a 130% flip in Dearborn. And so like, yeah, I mean, beating Susan Collins was always going to be harder than other races. She's also won against other people in you know what I mean? Like the Plattner stuff is fucking weird. Like they're spamming the shit out of, you know, against Graham Plattner for a reason, right? Because the Democratic Party is not defending him. And in fact, they're helping his attackers because Fight Agency, I'm going to break it down for you, chat. Fight Agency represents an existential threat to the consultant class in DC. So it's their wallets. If Graham Plattner wins in a place they can't win, if Abdul wins in a place they can't win, they're fucking cooked. The entire DNC is a bunch of disgusting consultants who make hundreds of millions buying TV ads every year. Of course, they're trying everything they can to slaughter their competition. Your power, your policies, your government is just a money-making scheme for them. And it's not even that much money, too. That's the thing. Most dead-on accurate 3 congressional races the day before the election. My prediction, Valdez 48, Reynoso 46, Juan 6. No. It's going to be more than that. Mine is, I can't believe people thought that Daria Lisa would lose. Like, obviously, now that she's won and everybody's now, all of your minds are now in alignment with me. Like, everybody's like catching up to where I was like 5 months ago. That's the thing that's so funny. I've been saying this shit. We need to be running as many people as possible. So go find some of my tweets. I was yelling at people. We need to run more people. We need to run more races. I've been screaming at the top of my lungs. Now everybody's finally catching up. And like this money, by the way, is Republican money. This is just Republican money. They're using Republican money in Democratic primaries to make attacks against the progressives seem more legitimate. That's all they're doing. Yeah. So they can soften them up for the general, beat him with the Republican. but make the attacks look like they're coming from a fellow Dem. By not banning AIPAC, a GOP-leading group, from spending in Dem primaries, Dem leadership paved the way for this. Problem is all the leaders are Israel spies. And I use spy knowingly. Like, they are traitors. It is what it is. Like, you don't take hundreds of millions of dollars from a foreign adversary, which is Israel, and then go like, oh yeah, and then let your own party's like power be sabotaged unless you're corrupted yourself. Assad says it was right not to run in more races because Daria Lisa's race was close. It wasn't close. She won by like 5 points, 4.5 points. That's not close. Claire won by 20 points. Brad Lander got 2/3 of the vote. Like, we had way too much on Brad Lander and Claire. Like, we could have run another race. Like, what are you saying? Like, what the fuck are you saying? Now, obviously, running against Akeem would have probably not been the play. We could have run against another Democrat. Lander and Claire were way over capacity. Daria Lisa also was running against a very strong incumbent, by the way, who had deep roots in the community, who had a lot of money, who was the chair of the Hispanic caucus, who had massive national support. He was a hard candidate to beat. I don't, like, what the fuck are we, Jesus Christ. God damn it. Can you guys learn? I know, like, I tell you what's gonna happen. It happens exactly, and then you think you got it wrong, and then but you think you know better than me? Crazy. I'm not saying turn your brain off and just do what I say, but like, listen to the arguments I'm making. A massive missed opportunity. We can't let this happen again. There's a real momentum behind change candidates this cycle. Oh my God, I predicted this. Oh my God, I predicted this. I predicted this exact thing would happen. He tried to make fun of me and said I was wrong about Gonzalez, but I said this would happen. Someone go get my, oh my God, back to the prediction. Oh my God, damn it. It's like, I think it's 55 Valdez, at least. I think 48 is way too low. My honest read is the negative spending hurt her significantly with older voters, and a challenge once prime for an upset may fall a couple points short. No. And the reason why I think it's going to be the other way. I think it's going to be her at 52 and Espelot at 48. Why do I? Also, this guy's analysis of the race was totally wrong and embarrassingly bad. And I like the guy, but like, nah. The increased salience of the race, spurred by the challenger closing the gap in the mayor's intervention, may have been net negative for the insurgent. There's never been a more wrong statement ever written in the history of the planet. When the race was sleepier, I liked Daria Lisa's odds to surprise the establishment. However, once the contest became the race to watch, Espaillat and co. could see the threat that Daria Lisa and Mamdani posed and responded with overwhelming force to crush it. There's nothing that was more wrong than that. The reason why Daria Lisa won is because people liked Mamdani, and when he endorsed her, they were like, oh, we could trust her. Had that not happened, she would have gotten beaten. This is dead wrong. 52 and Espelot at 48. Why do I say that? Again, one, people are going to turn out big time, right? They're going to turn out. So see how this rate, see this district was 15 plus Mamdani, and then I said, she'll do 10 points worse than that and still win. And that's exactly what happened. Literally exactly what happened. Big time on election day for her. It's not going to compare to Zoran, but he doesn't need to do that well. She can give up 10 points, and she will compared to what Zoran did in that district, but she'll still win. That's why. That's so there you have it. So 55 for Claire and 52 for Dari. Those are my numbers.
AK win by
what's
4.
The last one? Lander I think is at 65. Those are my predictions.
Which is, he got exactly 65.
Predictions. I made a bit of a prediction yesterday. I told you that I was extremely confident that Milat got it. Will we know who wins tonight? I think Colorado has some mail-in voting, right? But I think they should have it all counted before the polls close. I think we should have a good sense. And I also think we'll know by tonight because she'll be winning by so much. I then explained to you how the night was going to proceed. So I told you that when the final result comes out, she'll be winning by... Mike, I think you have a fundamental misunderstanding of the common voter. These newer Democrats are giving good speeches, but are untested in more moderate areas like the Midwest. We can't afford these additional amenities without ensuring our economy can sustain the changes. We need to ground ourselves are here and stand on reasonable advancement. I don't know how you're grounding yourself. Prove that you are by posting feet pics on Twitter. Very good. Very good. I actually have great feet. In fact, I'd be a Wiki Feet 5. If I posted my feet, I would be a Wiki Feet 5. Like there's no doubt. Honestly, I'm scared of them being posted because I don't want the attention. You know how George Costanza was a hand model? That same thing could happen to me with feet. Like that's how good they are. What makes a foot great? Well-proportioned toes, a good arch, no warts, no disfigurements, no wrinkles. You know, like, come on, what are we saying? You don't understand what good feet are? Like, come on, man. 10 to 15 when all the votes are in. I think Milan's no bunions, you know, no corns, no fungus. Hickenlooper beat by Gonzalez by less than 6% with her only raising $850K and campaigning for barely. Did you put in my Gonzalez prediction or did you cut that out, Jules? Going to win by like at least 10. And I think Gonzalez is going to go down to the wire. And all of us are going to be like, why did we do more for Gonzalez? We could have won. That's exactly what's going to happen. I think, oh, wow, that's exactly what happened. The reason why I'm showing you this, guys, is because I want to get on some electoral committees at DSA. So I want you guys to help me do that because I think that my advice is correct. And I think we need people that understand this like moment a little bit better. That's actually shocking because you played hockey, which will fuck up your feet. I wore properly fitted skates. Mike, are you typing your feet to use them as a tool to fundraise for AOC in 28? Honestly, Mike is the Joe Star of the left, and your next line is, you should never watch a movie with me because I precogged the lines for movies I've never seen. It's actually sick. I think it's an autistic trait. Like, I know exactly what all the characters are going to say before they say it. Maylot's race appeared to be in the bag ahead of the time. Why weren't there more efforts to pivot to Gonzalez? Because she didn't want us to. She went on Hutch's show. I mean, like, what do you want me to say? She distanced herself from DSA, and that's that. Like, Hassan and I are socialists. I'm not going to chase you around. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, Hassan is actually more willing to help people that are not socialists than me. I don't like progressives. If somebody is a progressive, I think they're a fucking sellout in waiting. And I don't trust them. Because why aren't you a socialist? That's where the grassroots are. There's not a bunch of people walking around going, I'm a progressive, yay. I'm a progressive, yay. That's very careerist, weird, fucking acidic shit. They're like actual people from the left are in the DSA now. So if there's a candidate who's not DSA, I pretty much don't care about them, to be honest with you. Now, there's a couple exceptions, like Abdul, because he's from the movement surrounding Bernie Sanders forever. Graham Plattner was a fan of Michael Brooks, my close, dearly departed friend, and likes Majority Report. So to me, those are two people that I can vouch for and go, okay, they're not going to be pieces of shit. But if somebody's out there going, I let my DSA membership lapse and I'm going to run as a progressive, like, ew. That was my problem with Kat as well, is it's like, why aren't you a socialist? Why aren't you trying to get DSA to back you in Chicago? It's very strong there. Why the fuck wouldn't you? You're trying to run in the left lane without DSA? Why? That is a red flag. Do we think we could see any sitting politicians join DSA? Oh, of course. She did say it's better not to be a member than be one and not go to a meeting a lot. Well, then go to the meetings. Go to the meetings. What do you want me to say? Go to meetings then. None of the Senate candidates are running as DSA yet. We're going to get ourselves a DSA senator out of Wisconsin. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. We're going to get ourselves a DSA senator out of Wisconsin. Don't you worry. That's my plan. That's my long plan. Like, the problem about like people like Julie and people like Kat, who I like, it's not even that I don't like that. Like, I like Kat Abou-Ghazaleh, by the way. And I'm not trying to beat her up. This is me being supportive. And by the way, I'll support anything Kat runs for. I hope she runs again. I'll be there on day one. Okay, I just want to lay that down. This is constructive criticism. This is a debrief. This is not in any way me running them down. Okay, this is just me saying this is what I think the mistake was. I know why they made the mistake. Their mistake was a reasonable mistake to make. This is also something that you need to be comfortable with, right? Think of it like this. This is where sports is a great analogy. Let's say it's 3rd and 4, and I want to run a bruising, full black up the gut play, and you want to do a play action pass, right? Both of those decisions are reasonable, right? Running up the gut for 4 yards, that's a little bit of a long run. Play action pass, that takes some time to develop. So if there's any gaps in the coverage or problems with the coverage, or the protection, well, then the play might get broken up. So either one of those is reasonable, right? Either one of those is reasonable. And it depends upon what the defense is doing. So if I say we should call the run and you say let's do a play action pass and then you do the play action pass and you get a sacked or the coverage breaks down or whatever, that doesn't mean your decision was unreasonable. It just happened to be wrong based on the conditions of the game, the defense or whatever. There's some sort of thing that we could go back and look. Sometimes it's just meh. It is what it is, right? When I'm looking at Kat, when I'm looking at Julie, and I'm saying to them, you should have run through DSA. You should have embraced the Democratic Socialist label. That's where the energy was. That's where the opportunity on earned media online was. You missed out. You tried to run a too conventional of a progressive campaign a la 2018, and it's not that world anymore. We're in a new world. And whenever people see you kind of shying away from the socialism, from DSA or the socialist label, you lose authenticity, which is the source of your power. Back to glazing myself. This will be over, I swear. Milad's got it by at least 10. That being said, is there any polling? She's up 5 of the polls. Oh God. Okay, she's gonna win by at least 15 then. But again, you run through the tape, chat. I told you after the first early vote drop of the early drop sheet to be up between 4 and 6. The polls closed and the first big drop will be somewhere around 4 to 6 points. And then it'll rise, which is exactly what it was. It was 4.5. She was up 2.5 from the early vote alone. The first big drop made her up 4.5, and then every drop from there, she was going up another 2 and 2.5%. Rise up to 10 plus after all the votes are counted. That the gap would continue to grow throughout the night. And I love DSA and I've been a longtime member, but there are a lot of chapters that are just frankly incompetent. That's why I need to get on the national level. Because I do think we need to helicopter in, and there's a lot of small chapters that are like personality cults around some nerd. And they have some weird ultra opinions. They're like, imagine a bunch of very small DSA chapters with 10 or 15 people, and they have a Brett at their heart. That's the problem with DSA. It's there's a lot of really, really good chapters, but then there's a bunch of chapters that have a Brett at their heart, where they're absolutely cooked. And they're like, you want to do electoral politics? We repair brake lights once a month. That's important work. How dare you want to waste our time with a congressional race? Right? That's the type of shit. And again, nothing against brake light clinics. I like them. They're good. But if that's all you're doing, that's a fucking joke. Go set up a car repair hobby group. This is Democratic Socialists of America. Okay? Jesus. So, DSA is more popular than it should be. But that's an advantage. Because of functional chapters like New York City DSA and functional chapters like Wisconsin, whether it's Madison or it's Milwaukee, everybody starts thinking that DSA is like that, when it turns out that a lot of them are like, I'm sorry, we don't believe in electoralism, you reformist. We believe in revolution only. That shit that absolutely does exist. I found out there's a DSA chapter in my neck of Massachusetts only recently. Some chapters are really bad at promoting themselves. That too. Basically, here's what I want to do. Here's my plan. I want us to identify 50 to 100 seats around the country that are deeply blue, that have a Democrat who is pro-Israel or centrist in any way. Then I want to recruit in the next year or two those 100 candidates. Then I want National DSA to coordinate with the local DSA branch and have the campaign organized through that local DSA branch, have an integration between the congressional campaign and the DSA, local DSA, build up the local DSA through the campaign, and then myself and Hassan will travel around the country in sequence. This is in 2028, and we will help, and we'll also integrate with AOC's presidential campaign. So AOC's presidential campaign will integrate with local DSA, and then local DSA will run a congressional candidate, and then Hassan and I and other people that want to do it will travel around the country and do rallies and raise money for each one of these campaigns. And then they will build up themselves locally and hopefully raise money from their own people and from their own networks. And then we'll do 50 to 100 DSA challenges. And then as the year goes through, we will do GOTV events at each person, right, to help boost their GOTV efforts at near their end of their primary. And because primaries are spread out over the course of the year, we'll be able to do this. And from that, I expect us to be able to get, you know, somewhere in the range of like, you know, 50 to 60 DSA members in the Congress. That's my dream. That's my dream plan. And then we'll have 50 to 60 robust DSA chapters. And even the ones where we don't win, well, now they have a candidate who ran a good race, who's got good name recognition. They could immediately run again. Or they immediately could run for a different office. You know, they could run for their local controller or their local county executive or their local, you know, comptroller or DA or city attorney or whatever the fuck. Or, you know, state senate, whatever. And we can have such a strong, robust campaign system that DSA is a national power and it persists. And then it could back AOC up after she wins the presidency. And we could go and target any Democrat anywhere in the country who dissents from AOC's, you know, platform, say on Medicare for all. Somebody says I'm a Democrat against Medicare for all. Bam, DSA challenge. $100,000, 500 volunteers. Boom, the next day. Someone announces their challenge. The moment that person says I oppose Medicare for all, bam, announcement, $100,000 in the campaign, 500 volunteers. And so every Democrat politician will be quaking in their fucking boots to go against AOC. That's what I actually want to create. I think what I'm talking about is completely doable. We get AOC up to 250 to 500,000 members. Everything I just said is completely doable. We've already gotten we already have like 15 DSA or socialist members and we didn't even really try. Yeah, Patrick, I saw that. 4 years is very doable. Well, we have 2.5. It would be called in her favor. Literally everything I said. So not only was I right about who won, I was also right with how it would be counted. I also was correct. I also think Southern seats that are R plus 5 to 15 where Democrats have abandoned challenges are prime opportunities. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So DSA is undershooting itself. Oh my God, yeah. Oh my God, yeah. What? We left so many seats on the table. Guys, you have a good DSA chapter in Philadelphia. We picked up one of the bluest seats and blackest seats in the district, in the country. If we can win the Philadelphia seat, we can win literally any major city. Like, what are we saying? Are all the chapters at least in communication with each other? Yes. DSA is national, but it's also decentralized. I want to increase centralization a little bit for the purpose of executing campaigns. I don't want DSA to only be electoral, but I understand electoral as a recruiting opportunity. And when AOC announces, we have got to be ready to build chapters. So mature chapters have to go and this is why I want us supporting AOC, because I want AOC to run her campaign through DSA. I don't want her to do like Obama for America, where she controls everything. I want her to run it through DSA so that when she's done, DSA is still there. All the organization that goes through DSA is permanent, as opposed to if we go through her campaign or the Democrats, it goes away, like Obama's organization did. Is this definitely going to happen? No. It's definitely not going to happen unless I get more influence. And that's the reality. And I don't want to make it about myself because it's not about me. It's just I look at everybody else and I don't see people have the vision. And that's the vision I have. Vision I have is we have this opportunity coming. It's a once in a lifetime. We can make DSA a power to be reckoned with permanently in this country, a pseudo political party of socialism. If we take advantage of this and we're not distracting ourselves with dumb bullshit. So you want a central committee? You don't say. About how the night would proceed. Ladies and gentlemen, boy, you're going to need AOC to get the guts to endorse the DSA challenges. No, I don't. No, we actually don't. We're going to talk. Let me finish this. Like all my right predictions of the last couple months. I also was correct about how the night would proceed. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, as I predicted, this is another example of Mike was right. I told you AOC will wait and endorse in the summer. You called it in April. And then AOC endorses him later on in the summer and he gets like a half of the undecideds and then the other half split between Mallory and Stevens evenly and he wins. There you go. It's going to happen. There you go. Let's get back to Keir Starmer's resignation.
I will resign as leader of the Labour Party.
Now, there's something I need to show you, chat, and you could clip this. Here's my tweet from July 2023. It appears a foregone conclusion that the British Labour Party is about to take the path blazed by Obama. squandering a once-in-a-lifetime majority in order to enact right-wing policy and austerity in America that has led to Trump and the resurgence of fascism. Good luck, Brits. So I've made multiple predictions. God damn it, I hate being right. In this post, I said that the Labor Party's gonna go center-right. I said they're gonna win a once-in-a-lifetime majority, and I said that was gonna lead to the rise of fascism, just like it did in the US. Do you understand how right this is? Like, I made a prediction about an election for a year, and then what the consequences of that would be in policy, and then what those policies would result in politically. Here we are 3 years later, and we're exactly correct. And there is no doubt. Like, and this is for a country. This is the thing that sucks, man. Like, it doesn't even make me feel good. It just makes me feel bad that I couldn't change. It's like being Cassandra, bro. Cursed with knowing what's going to happen, but having no power to get people to not do the dumbass shit don't even live in. I predicted that Corbyn would overperform. I called into the majority report the day before the Corbyn election, predicted that they would overperform the polls.
Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Sam, it's Michael from PA. How are you?
Michael, what's going on?
But I say if there's going to be a mistake, there's going to be a mistake.
It's going to go the other way.
It's going to be towards Labor.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be towards Labor. I don't think he's necessarily going to win a majority or anything kind of crazy, but
you think it's going to be closer to 2%?
I think it's going to be like 2. Yeah, I think it'll be tight. We'll see if I'm an idiot.
Okay. Also on the program today, Labor wins without quite winning, but a big, big night. And I got to say, Mike from Pennsylvania nailed it.
To the T.
Nailed it. You calling from a 610 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Sam, it's Michael. How
Michael from Pennsylvania. Well, you're going to get one of these too, buddy. Because, I mean, what did you do? You called in yesterday and you said, well, I think it's going to be closer to 2%.
Yeah, it kind of went exactly as I thought, and it makes sense because if you understand how polls work, you would have seen it coming.
Good
you
job.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Good job.
I predicted that day, Doug Jones would win.
Certainly not you.
Calling from a 610 area code. Who's this?
Sammy, Mike from Pennsylvania. How are you?
Mike from Pennsylvania.
Race in Alabama.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to get super hyped over this thing, but I kind of feel like Doug's going to win. I think the best quality polls show Doug Jones winning. I see, this momentum and fire in the Democratic Party of Alabama.
I hope you're right, man. Calling from a 610 area code. I'm going to get to you very quickly because I believe this is Mike from PA. And, well, you know what? How about this? There you go.
This is the origin of Mike from PA, guys. This is the origin, okay? This is the origin. It's so sick that Mike from PA became your Twitch name. No, it's not. No.
You called it.
That's probably someone you should listen to. I don't know. Let's just say I've been doing this for a long time. A long ass time. A long ass time. I've got more predictions. I'm sure. I just, these are the ones the Jules found. Nice job, I want Jules. You guys to understand that no one else. New aim and animation? Oh, hell yeah. Oh my God. Everybody get the fuck in here. We've got a brand new aim and animation. Oh my God. Holy shit. We've got a new aim and animation. Everybody get the fuck in here. Holy shit. Stop everything.
But what are they doing? I want to know what people are actually going to do. My life is ruined. Does anybody understand how ruined my life is? I'm sick of it. I don't want to listen to people tell me that I'm a conspiracy theorist. They don't know what it's like to be me. My life is ruined, Alex.
I'm gonna come.
Welcome to tonight's episode of Loomer Unleashed. Been talking a lot about the Islamification of our country. You're going to see dozens of Muslim candidates file to run for office and also think that they too can be the next Zoran Mandami. There's nothing peaceful about what Mamdani is doing. In fact, he is promoting Sharia law and he is advancing the cause of Islam to destabilize our country so that the Muslim Brotherhood can continue to strangle our country from within until we are living under an Islamic caliphate. None of this is peaceful. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free is a call for the extinction and the absolute annihilation of Jewish people. Joining me now to discuss the Islamification of America, Florida.
Notice how they have to just make things up that are completely insane. One of the things that's a kind of regular experience for me is that people just have to lie blatantly about what we believe. It's crazy. Just say what we say. What's so wrong with that?
United States Congressman Randy Fine.
Who would have thought 25 years after 9/11 we would have a Muslim leader in New York saying, I want to ban your dogs?
I'm kind of shocked that this many people are okay with the idea of our dogs being kidnapped by people in hijabs and burqas going around acting like the Sharia police, trying to kill our dogs because they're so haram. I would not let a migrant kiss my face like this, but or let my dog put her tongue in my mouth. So.
Israel's enemies are our enemies. Does that mean I think we should put the interests of America over Israel? No.
You know, these people are in the streets of America calling for death to Israel. I mean, like, why wouldn't you be afraid of that shit? You see this hat? It doesn't say make America Muslim again. It says make America great again. We're gonna make America great again by keeping America American. Okay, we're not gonna import a bunch of people going, Allahu Akbar. No, that's not what we voted for. I mean, do these people listen to themselves when they talk? Do they realize how crazy they sound when they talk? Dog food talker. And I'm gonna put this in my mouth right now.
Good boy.
It tastes like meat. And quite frankly, who cares if illegal aliens are fed to alligators? So anyway, my fiance and I are like sitting on the couch making out, and the dog just comes over and she tries to stick her tongue in between us. It's the cutest little thing. Pretty much an abomination that these people have not been executed. I personally would live stream it, and I'm personally a fan of the torture that was carried out at Guantanamo Bay. You want to globalize the Intifada and you're going to vote for Zohran Mamdani. Walk right into the gas chamber, why don't you?
But I can put photos of you and Trump together. You know, I think the issue is when people see you on TV with him and at Mar-a-Lago and at golf courses, whatever, he does get really excited and happy, and so do you. And they see that, they go, oh, God, this is an item. And I know you guys aren't having sex. I know that's true. My point is you can just see why people would say that. I mean, why do you think Trump brightens up? He doesn't do that with even most women. Why does he get so excited when he's around you?
Well, I actually don't see why people would say that, because he is a very friendly person.
No, I know.
President Trump likes me.
I'm not saying that's the case. Stop. I'm not saying that's the case. I'm not saying it's the case. I'm just saying I watch body language. He does particularly like you. I guess that's because he knows you so long, I think.
Maybe, just maybe, it's not such a great idea to allow for Muslims to be involved in our political process in America. Maybe. But I guess, I don't know, maybe we need another 9/11.
Honest to God, chat. He made her look normal, though. More normal than she actually looks. I think Laura Loomer for AIM and animation is a unique challenge where it's like she looks like the exaggeration of an AIM and animation. And so how do you exaggerate the exaggeration? You can't. Man, it's so awesome that like Zohran Mamdani is attractive because Trump is so much a closeted queen that they can't make him hate Zohran. Like Laura Loomer and all these people, they're like, hate Zohran, and he's like, why? He's hot. I can't hate hot people. That's also why he doesn't really even talk about AOC that much. Like Trump is he doesn't hate hot people. It's why he never speaks about Hassan, because you see what I mean? Like I bet you they're hiding Hassan from Trump because the moment Trump sees Hassan, he might actually become TSA. Did you see him talking about how he would be the best communist of all time? I would be the best communist of all time. If I was a communist, I'd be everybody would have free everything. I thought it was only a matter of time before Trump mentioned Assad, but I think they're actually censoring. Like, I think they know how much of a queen that Trump is. And so they're like, they keep Assad away from Trump because they saw how much it backfired with Zoran. You were right about Hassan feeling bad for not supporting Julie. By the way, this motherfucker said on his stream that I was wrong about her, about it being close. This guy's literally stealing my takes. Stephen Miller can't contain himself. Oh my God. Stephen Miller is posting about Francesca Hong and oh my God. It's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time before Trump is talking about Hassan. We just have to make it to November, chat. If we can make it to, like, if we can get the elections and we can win the House and the Senate and we can get to the swearing in, then I will feel like we're not going to die. So the next 6 months or so will determine whether right now I feel like we could die at any moment. Unironically, because the Democrats would not defend us. So we could just have to make it 6 more months. Googling Francesca Hong interview, Twitch, your video comes up first. You're the crosshairs, LOL. Oh, yeah. They called me they said that they attacked me on the Wisconsin stuff. You guys should show me those links. I'm surprised you didn't show me that. The fuck?
How will you stop ICE from ripping apart neighborhoods and families?
Well, I think it's paramount that the executive, again, wield to the fullest extent the power to ensure that we're protecting all communities from the enforcers of fascism, which is ICE. The Keep Families Together package ensures that we prohibit 287G agreements or local law enforcement from cooperating with ICE. We also have to make sure that we are giving the Attorney General's office full jurisdiction to be able to sue and prosecute individual ICE agents, as well as district attorneys at the district level, and that state money can go towards immigrant justice organizations to help fund different mutual aid efforts, legal observer trainings, know your rights trainings. And I think most importantly, folks need to know that their governor is on their side, and that just because the federal government, we do not have to participate, even when we may not always be able to override federal authority, doesn't require us to participate in it.
She's so cool, guys. Jewish Insider wrote about you. Notice how there's only a quote around the word demonic, not me saying Jews are demonic, because I didn't say that. They have a quote around one word. Live stream of anti-Semitic conspiracy theorists? This is just defamation. What conspiracies do I support? I honestly should start suing people. What am I doing here? The thing about Hassan is he at least has a few bad, he has a few bad clips. How many bad clips do I have? One, which I replied to and apologized and clarified a year ago. And none of these fucking smear jobs ever asked me for comment. Isn't that weird? Which is violation of journalistic ethics. It is a fucking smear job. You said you got lawsuit protection not to file lawsuits if I get sued. Nobody offers insurance for you to then go sue other people, as far as I'm aware. Assad is dealing with the 9/11 quote after 10 years. America deserved 9/11. Fuck it, I'm saying it. Is a legendary quote from Hassan.
PA went to the beach that makes you old, but I'm also happy that he finally got a haircut, a beard cut, and also started wearing suits. He didn't have to go to the beach that makes you old to be able to get there. I think he could have just done it without going to the beach that makes you old, but hey, it's fine.
Okay, I gotta back this up and react again.
Just for the record.
I'm going to take that as a compliment, Sean. Thank you.
All right. Let me
Sean,
go through.
Look.
Yep.
Wait. You were such a crucial figure in the growth of the MAGA movement, which to a lot of mainstream Republicans was considered absolutely radical. Outrageous things were said by Donald Trump and a lot of other folks in MAGA that never would have been said by Republicans before. And yet it tapped into something that a lot of Americans were concerned about and were feeling. I don't know why there's a double standard here. So on the left of the Democratic Party, you're hearing some really blunt, I don't agree with all of it, obviously, but some really blunt sense that the status quo is not working in America. I think that's part of what Donald Trump was saying in his own way. So I don't think it's surprising that given everything that's wrong in our economy, given how much people are struggling to make ends meet, that candidates who are saying this status quo is broken are actually going to get this kind of energy.
I can't believe Michael from PA went to the beach that makes you old, but I'm also happy that he finally got a haircut, a beard cut, and also started wearing suits. You know, he didn't have to go to the beach that makes you old to be able to get there. I think he could have just done it without going to the beach that makes you old, but hey, it's fine. I was fucked up. So,
you know, after all these years, I've never said that Hassan looks like Cenk. All these years, I've never said Hassan looks like Cenk on peptides, human growth hormone. All these years, I've kept it to myself. I've even said his head was normal size. I didn't make fun of him for getting a ear warmers from Fran, who's 5'3", and the ear warmers being too big for his head. But I'm going to start speaking some more truth. He has the size of a head. His head is the size. I think Fran's head and his are the same size. I think if you go and look at the videos, Fran's head and his are the same size. He has the head size of a 5'3" woman. Let us continue.
Bill de Blasio is kind of chill. I know people will fucking yell at me for it, but you're an asshole. Wait, why? Infighting? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Infighting? Buddy, you're getting clipped. It's over. You're getting clipped. They got you on the timeline, constantly fucking playing the hits, playing the notes. That's only going to get worse. Put a fucking suit on, get a haircut. It's time for, you know, time for respectability politics.
What I really need is A, to condition my hair better. 2, I do need to like line up my facial hair and figure it out, right? I do need to do that. 3, I need a better stream setup and lighting and just like the way the camera's positioned and everything. And also like sometimes I like lean down to my mic, which is really bad. I need to like not do that. I need to be sitting back in my chair and not leaning forward. These are just things that I need to put into my mind. And so you know what I mean, chat? Like these are just like smaller things that I need to do. You don't need to figure it out. You live in LA and have money, act like it. Oh God, I don't have that much money, dude. I don't want to spend money until I own a house. You want to start? Let's raise money for Mike's down payment. And I put $100,000 fucking goal. You know what I mean? Like Jesus Christ. I don't want to be spending thousands of dollars on hair. 500 is not going to break you. That's what broke people say. Hassan badly needed the suit meta. You don't. The reason is because without it, he would do this every day. True.
That's it.
Respectability politics can suck me for the back. It's not respectability politics. I don't necessarily need to suit up, but I do, you know, I should probably follow the Sam Cedar button down. Friday is soft collar Friday, right? Like that's probably a good idea. Maybe I could occasionally do the jank. Okay, I'm never going to do the jank, which is where you wear a suit jacket over a t-shirt. But I could do the bank manager where it's like you wear a suit without a tie. It's very Gen X boss coded to wear a t-shirt with a jacket over it. Why are suits respected? Because they make you look good. Suits give you a triangular body shape. They frame your face. They draw attention to your, you know, they bring the eye to your face. It just makes you look better. It's like, you know, it's like the little black dress for men.
Record behavior? I don't think it's record behavior. Look,
I could put my hair up, but you guys would have to yell at VO to help me because I'd be like a 7-year-old getting knots into my hair.
Malcolm X dropped the zoot suits after wearing it for decades. If he can play respectability politics to a certain degree, we can too. That's all I'm saying. It works.
You have to understand aesthetics play a part in how people perceive your message. Well, the other thing, Dune Architect, is that people don't understand that you guys like me. So you're always going to see me in a better light than a person who doesn't know me from Adam. You're always going to give me the benefit of the doubt. You're always going to, you know, you're going to overlook my flaws that you've gotten used to, etc. You're not unbiased. You're biased, which is fine. I mean, you know, it's like every single long-term relationship I've ever had is because You know, I had someone who's way out of my league get used to my go nature, you know, and just letting my personality win the day. And every breakup is because they actually learned what my personality is. When I first saw you, I didn't think negatively about your appearance. Yes, that's true. I don't think I'm a troll. My hair is like yours when I was your age. It is hard to handle. So true. You're above average for men, but I'm on TV. That's what you guys are not understanding. I'm on the TV. You're comparing me to all men when you need to compare me to other TV men. You understand? Like, if you're comparing me to like regular guys, then yeah, obviously I mog regular guys. But if you're talking about TV guys, no. Like, look at all my friends. Austin Show, Hassan, Theo. Are you getting what I'm putting down here? These people are much more attractive than me. Caroline. Like, come on. Sam Cedar. People are like, no, they're not. You can't be that delusional, bro. Come on, come on, come on. Sam was a love interest on Sex and the City. He is absolutely, he's like 60 years old. Like, what? Of course he's not as hot as he was when he was my age, but like, he's still way hotter. Like, what are you guys are crazy. Don't forget Will. Oh, perfect example. Will is like a hot guy from a beach movie. March is like a guy from the front cover of an emo album. These people are like, they're 9s and 10s. You guys are fucking Delulu. You know, Will thinks he is ugly. Well, I mean, I didn't say Will didn't have dysphoria, but I you know, he's very, very attractive, very put together with his appearance, really well styled. Like, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Look at this guy's, look at how wide this guy is. God damn. Again, this is a 9 or a 10, you know, like, god damn. Compared to them, you're a garden gnome. No, I mean, like, listen, exactly. Like, again, obviously, there's nothing. The thing is, that's why they're a little bit on the Delulu side, you know? I'm on the TV. I'm not just a regular guy, which is unfortunate. I wish I could just be a regular guy. I don't really care about this kind of thing. I wish I did. I'm just aware of it. I'm just not a delusional guy. You see how my ego is unaffected by speaking the truth? I don't feel lesser. I could just look at the world as it is, and I could just be like, look at these people. They're incredibly beautiful. Like, what do you mean? Are you guys okay? That doesn't mean that I'm bad. Beauty doesn't mean good, especially not. Look at Hassan. Clearly it doesn't. Hit his style. I mean, I could definitely move myself up the numbers. That's for sure. Your most off-putting flaw is your constant bragging. What bragging do I do? Are you just talking about me saying, oh, I made this prediction and I was right? Is that what you're saying is bragging? That's like one of those cases where it's like, that's definitely one of those, the meme, you know, the cartoon meme where there's the guy who's like fat and he's talking to his coworker like, hey, you want to go out for lunch? And she's like, ew, human resources. And then there's another frame where the guy's hot and he does the same thing and she's like, got a heart. Where it's like, you just think it's bragging because you're looking for any word for trying to take away. The job of a political commentator is to get political analysis and predictions correct. It's like, how dare this pitcher pump his fist when he does a strikeout? That's his whole job.
It literally works better than you would think.
And enthusiasm behind him.
Okay, let's take a look at the three candidates that your friend Zoran Marxist Kami Mamdani supported.
I like that you give him two middle names there. Two middle names.
Well, I only gave you one. Maybe that means I like him more. I don't know.
LA transplants are all the hottest person from their town becoming a waiter or whatever in LA. It skews things. Yeah, exactly. LA is the place where people go who have been told they should move to LA because they're so hot and they should go on TV, but they're not quite hot enough.
Kind of like you more because you're more willing to come on the program. Let me go through the record, for example, of one of the people that he helped elect. And this woman, Darlazia, whatever her name, Chevalier, here are her positions. Because I think people need to really understand fundamentally where they stay. She, you know, again, they call themselves Democratic Socialists, but she wants to abolish the police completely. Let's go through it all. She wants to abolish America's prisons completely. She wants no American borders completely. She doesn't want anybody deported, even people, illegals, convicted of murder and rape. A day after October the 7th, she showed up at a pro-Hamas rally in Times Square. That would be the equivalent of losing 40,000 Americans in a day if you extrapolate out the population. Brags about using the American flag to wipe her hands. Now, Is that your party? Is that who you are? Would you vote for her?
Sean, the question is, why did the people of that district vote for her?
No.
Tell you
That's
why.
your question. I asked you a different question.
This is such like, I'm so tired of like non-progressives. You want people to defend these positions? Bring me on. Swear to God. How do I get on TV to start defending these positions? Like, all this like soft bitch-made way of defending positions is so embarrassing. Is it up to the local people to defend those positions?
My question is,
look, she's the
question is
Democrat
simple.
nominee.
Hang on. Would you vote for her?
Wants to abolish prisons, wants to abolish borders. That's not her position. That is not her position. Unless you're saying she wants to live in a society where prisons are unnecessary because there is no crime and there is no violence and antisocial behavior, then isn't that everyone? Doesn't everyone want to live in that society? Like, what are you saying?
She is the Democratic nominee. I would vote for her, yes. But let me tell you what's going on here. Because you can do your lists. Sean, you can do your list.
Come on, Bill. Just be like, I would have voted for her in the primary. Beast mode, bro. Come on. Bill, you went to the beach that makes you old. You got a haircut. You got a beard cut. You're looking good. Okay. Michael from Pennsylvania. Now, Michael from the beach that makes you old. Be Bill the Bastio, not Bill the Bear.
The thing about this, like, is it would be so funny for me to be in these conversations because I understand something about the way the media works that it's seemingly no one else who is like on the center left does other than like our group, like Hasan and us, which is like, stop running away from positions. Did Donald Trump ever run away from a position? He would be like, I'm building the wall 10 foot higher. I'm going to get rid of all the illegals. I'm going to deport them all. He was saying all the most radical shit you could imagine. I'm going to ban Muslim people. And what happened to the reasonable moderate? Why were they not turned off from that? Because they listened past it. Stop doing this like, oh, I don't know about this. Embrace it.
Lean into it. Fuck it.
But what's really happening is she spoke out against what America's been doing in the Middle East, and a lot.
When Mike from PA saw you suggested he wear a suit, he called you bald.
First of all, no, I didn't. I have never called Hasan bald. I don't think Hasan is bald. His head is small. Okay, that's it. That's the only flaw. Okay, I've never called him bald.
Respectability politics. All I'm saying. Look, Mike can do whatever he wants. Of course, he's an adult. He does a great job. He's been nailing down the fucking the elections with his poll position predictions down to the fucking wire. I'm just saying, as someone who's gone through this process already.
Honestly, editors, we could just cut out all this shit about respectability politics and just say, Mike is amazing. He nails all his predictions. Subscribe to Mike. Can we call up Osinox for the AI, the Hasan AI, and have him say, subscribe to Mike. Unethical. Although I think he might have said that on a Wired interview. Wired podcast, Hasan Piker. I want to say he did. I want to say that he said, I think he recommended me. Was it not this one? Fuck. Was it not this one? I don't know if it was Wired or if it was a different one. We just need to like edit more promos for me.
Respectability policy is something from the back. No, dude, that's not.
Was posting on Hasan's Reddit saying Hasan needs to stop platforming you. Oh, this sounds fucking awesome. This sounds fucking awesome. Please link me the thread /comment. Then cites. I kind of want to sue organizer memes, or I'm just gonna meet up with the guy. You know, I kind of want to just. Maybe I'll serve him in person. That guy actually does need to get sued. Banned from chat for saying I don't like Mike from PA. What gives? Is he a mod or something? Sorry, I mean, I got a week time out. Sometimes you get told to take a lap or a week off and you just gotta take it. Is it perma? No. Then keep pushing it. Don't take it personally. But only time you're rightfully upset if it's a perma. I've said dumb shit. I got a week off. I don't agree, but it's easier to just let it go than get worked up over it. I don't like this person as ban-worthy. Get fucking owned. I don't think he's a mod, but he's good friends with Hasan and might share mods with him. What did he say at Hasan's chat? You might have a better shitting on Hasan in his chat and not getting banned than talking shit and stirring up drama about his friends. They don't. Hasan's mods don't even like Mike. He's fought with them before publicly. I mean, that's not true. Some of them don't. But most of those are old mods. Those are like people who've never really interacted with me. Most of their mods are fine with me. That's not even true. His politics is fine, but the way he conducts himself, that personally doesn't sit well with me. Guys, it's the way I conduct myself. Show us the full chat log. Come on, what did you say? My last two shots are Mike from PA is such a loser. I don't know how anyone like him. Mike is such a dweeb that Francesca Hall going on his stream makes her like her less. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, I want to see this guy's posts. Oh, this guy posted a lot. God, this guy posted this a lot. So he's from Minneapolis. That's cool. Like city skylines. I don't think you guys are right about him being a DGGer. I don't think you're right about that. Yeah, I don't see anything. I just see normal. The guy got, you know, you're allowed not to like me. That's totally fine. I don't see any problem there. I wonder what his logs are in here. I don't know what his Twitch is. So insult him for the actual things he's done wrong unless you literally don't like him because he doesn't go to the gym. Oh, that's why people think he's a Sex Custody fan. Mike has more in common with Destiny than a leftist. They both support Zionists and liberal politicians. People say this can't happen in a purple state. Sewer socialism that Zohran Mamdani is using for his plans is from Wisconsin. That is from Milwaukee.
Yep. Sewer socialism was born in Milwaukee. Social security was born in Wisconsin. Environmentalism, Gaylord Nelson. Unemployment insurance, kindergarten. Wisconsin has deep, deep progressive roots, and we have to make it the state where we're a laboratory for democracy, because we've been a fucking petri dish for conservative ideals and policies after the gerrymandering and Republican authoritarianism that has been our state legislature for over 15 years. And so I think this is an opportunity for us to take back and recall.
He posted, LOL, not a fan of Destiny anymore, but fun fact, I used to troll Stream Snipe him in StarCraft back in 2012. Oh, you guys were right. I was wrong. Bro, you're not slick. Bro, you're in your Nazi phase. You said you don't like Mike because of his appearance that is extremely Nazi coded. Damn, dude. Why do you keep your posts hidden? Why do you keep your posts hidden? Blood snow cones? That's weird. It didn't. Oh, oof. He's insufferable and obsessed with his the bot account. The bot account. Keep playing and I'm gonna ban you too. Look at these mods. Blood snow cones is an SA reference. Oh, I don't know what that means. Is that what that means? I think the one thing that is like one of the things that I find a little bit interesting is obviously everybody has different vibes, right? Like some people really like chill vibes and they don't really care a lot about substance. Other people are very much into substance, right? The thing that I find interesting is how completely vacuous the people that attack me weirdly are. There is really nothing to it, like ever. It's fucking weird. They're H3 fans brigading a Hassad Piker subreddit post about me and hiding your old posts. That's crazy. Like they imagine if these guys picked up a phone. Imagine these people picked up a fucking phone and did anything with their life. My God, that's crazy. Almost anything my kids do, if they buy a truck, they have inside information. Like, what more can you say? What more can you fucking say? His politics are correct. Wait, what was it? His politics are correct. Wait, what did Grim say? His politics are correct, but what? His politics are correct, but so what? The hardest thing about being a political commentator is that people talk about politics, but they don't care about politics. They talk around it. And so you're trying to engage with them in the realm of like ideas or policies or whatever, but they actually don't care about that. And it makes me like, it actually makes me go like, it shuts me down because I'm just like, my brain cannot process it. Why are you talking around politics and aping like you care about politics if you don't? I don't get it. All right, let's talk about, did you believe the stories about Putin planning an attack on Poland? No. I don't care about what's written in foreign newspapers because they could be literally written by the CIA. I don't get as far as like, you know, American adversaries, like these kind of arguments are stupid as fuck. Politics are carried by the people purporting it. That's even a point you make yourself. No, I know that. But just being like, I hate Zohran Mamdani every day, and somebody asks you why, and you go, because I don't like when people are happy.
You asked me a question, I answered it. You debated me back, I debated you back, and now we're just like going over the same thing over and over, and my brain's just kind of like melting, my eyes are glazing over. It's just unpleasant.
Well, help me understand, Dan. I'm genuinely surprised by this. What about this is so unpleasant? I thought we were just having a conversation about what seems to me to be a really fundamental issue about the direction of the left going forward. Because let me state where I'm coming from.
Okay.
I'm concerned that just like, maybe this is also something I'm not supposed to bring up, but I'm concerned that the same way that the left establishment pretended that force the vote was not a viable strategy, and then we saw Republicans. Wait a minute, we saw Republicans effectively do it 2 years later, and oust the. Did he just hang up on me?
You asked me a question, I answered it. You debated me back, I debated you back, and now we're just like going over the same thing over and over, and my brain's just kind of like melting, my eyes are glazing over. It's just unpleasant.
Well, help me understand, Dan. I'm genuinely surprised by this. What about this is so unpleasant? I thought we were just having a conversation about what seems to me to be a really fundamental issue about the direction of the left going forward. Because let me state where I'm coming from.
Okay.
I'm concerned that just like, maybe this is also something I'm not supposed to bring up, but I'm concerned that the same way that the left establishment pretended that force the vote was not a viable strategy, and then we saw Republicans. Wait a minute, we saw Republicans effectively do it 2 years later, and
force the vote was not a viable strategy because the majority of the caucus does not support Medicare for all. They openly don't. So forcing a vote on Medicare for all would have done nothing. We know where people stand on Medicare for all. They will tell you they don't support it. It's not a secret. Force the vote might make sense if like we had 220 sponsors on Medicare for all, but they never bring it up and they never pass it. And then it's like, why is this bill that we supposedly have a majority of people co-sponsoring not passing? Then forcing the vote would make sense because that would force people who are saying they supported it to actually vote up or down. But the reason why this is like stupid is force the vote is the reason why in her mind, the squad are sellouts. AOC is a failure in her mind because they didn't force the vote and then deny Nancy Pelosi speakership and instead allow a Republican to take it. Because that's how it works. The majority is the person who becomes speaker. And if you do not vote, then eventually like your abstentions are removed. The majority goes down. So like that's an idea Jimmy Dore was coming up with as a way of doing what? Being mad that we lost? Like, what do we saw? Like, we lost the election to Joe Biden. Bernie Sanders lost the election to Joe Biden. Was it unfair? Yes. Was the DNC biased against us? Yes. Did they make a bunch of rules that were shady? Is the Iowa caucus a joke? Is there too much super PAC money? Yes, yes. Yes to everything. But when it comes down to brass tacks, Bernie Sanders did not win more votes than Joe Biden. He lost the election. And it actually makes us dumber to not be able to look at that and ask ourselves why, and then try to figure out a way of advancing our movement, making it more sophisticated, changing our policies, or even waiting for better conditions. If you tell everybody it's rigged all the time, you make them stupid. You make them cynical. You make them check out of the process. And then you hand power to the centrists again without a fight.
That's it. You're getting Jimmy Dore content as punishment.
Everybody's going, oh, look at Bernie's getting up. Oh God.
That's funny. Okay, we're not gonna watch that, chat. That's just funny. Anyway, long story short, that's awesome. It's awesome that like there is a portion of like Voshite destiny, you know, people that are still dedicated to try to create some sort of distance between me and Hasan. And they used to try to argue it was based on like opinions. But then Hasan has adopted almost every single thing that they fought me over. Like I'm more intersectional than Hasan. Like I'm less of a dirtbag leftist than Hasan. Like you guys know that, right? And I'm not saying that to attack Hasan. I'm sure he would agree with that. He's more of a dirtbag leftist than me. That's the thing that's funny. And people try to go like, Mike, I like Hasan, but Mike, see, he's a class reductionist. And it's like, he's more of a class reductionist than I am. And we could get into it. I don't really want to get into it, but let's just say that I disagreed with him on a lot of things in the past. What does that even mean? I think there's a lot more. I believe that we need to organize around some of the axes of oppression that are not purely class-based. Like, for example, I think it makes a lot of sense to organize around immigration status. I think it makes a lot of sense to organize around, misogyny and anti-blackness in specific contexts. It's funny because that side of the internet can still call Hasan a campist. They don't know what campist is. Hasan is not a campist. Hasan is not arguing in favor of one of the sides of an imperialist war. That's what a campist is. If you support NATO and the US, you are a campist for the West. Only the ACP is a pro-Russia campist. We're not campists. We believe in international solidarity. We are against the wars. These people don't even know what these words mean. All right, chat. Let's talk about something more fun, which is the Democratic establishment is fucking mauling.
So as you guys know,
I guess I'm a massive dirtbag leftist then. You're probably not. I don't think the differences between me and Hasan are actually even significant. If anything, I've come in his direction, to be honest. If anything, I have become less tolerant of woke one. If anything, I've been persuaded by Hasan to be more like anti-annoying fucking people.
Left victories, big ones in Colorado. Malat Kuros. Political G was inspired to fire her job. Palestine to get truly astounded Malat Kuros alive. Let's take a look a little bit.
We are from coast to coast. Level of office. We are our party.
People who are the voter. The left happened. Michael Lang, he is the author. He digs special in New York. Disputed as sort of a
Oh, it's such a pleasure to be here.
yeah, of course. So I feel that the DSA, some that to white, college-educated white gen, some Sea Waters feel that it third world, black and brown, we let in immigrants, and that's what's going on here. You actually dug into, we can deal in facts up on this one narrative, facts about specifically the victim of Claire Valdez. What did you find about these particular winning coalitions for two DSA candidates?
This guy got the numbers wrong. He got the numbers wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's plenty of variables that go into one's support for socialism or progressive values, things like that. But when you kind of strip everything away, it's not necessarily race. It's not even college education. It's not even sometimes renters versus homeowners. It's just a kind of a proxy war for age. And this was kind of the story of the Mamdani coalition in New York City last year. There was a lot that was made of his kind of lack of support among black voters in the Democratic primary last year. But that was just a function of kind of the age of that electorate. He did very well with white, Hispanic, and South Asian voters, but those Democrats were much younger. And you see even, in the cases of Claire Valdez and Daria Eliza Avila Chevalier, they're not just winning white voters or white voters under 50. They're winning voters of all races under 50. And again, to win an election, in Claire Valdez's case, by 20 points, in that North Brooklyn, Western Queens Commie corridor, to defeat, a 10-year incumbent in the 13th congressional district, which has more renters than any other district in America, you can't really build the winning coalitions as they did if you're just, again, relying on like a very thin slice of, college educated, more white collar professionals, things like that. So, yeah.
Part of your analysis was super interesting as well, that even with Espaillat, it was pretty close with Hispanic voters over 50. So still, I think Espaillat still won, but barely, right? Like those numbers started to become really, really close.
Yeah, I mean, that was another kind of shocking piece of digging into it more, because again, he is the kind of a Dominican political trailblazer here in Upper Manhattan and the Bronx. And I mean, again, in those communities, he did do quite well. I would imagine, or again, particularly with voters under 50 and voters over 50. But there are also many Hispanic voters who live in that district who are not, who are not Dominican, they're Puerto Rican, they're Mexican. And I think that's where he really struggled, because, take a neighborhood like East Harlem, for instance, which again is younger and is kind of outside of his base, but still very Hispanic. That was a place where Daria Eliza was able to do very well. But then again, Washington Heights and the Bronx, older places, he kind of held on, but he still didn't really get the margins that he needed.
I mean, it's very simple. It's a generational gap. And ironically, the people in public housing and in rent-controlled apartments are old boomers. So even though they are living in socialist welfare programs, they're fucking boomers and they watch boomer information. And and they have relationships with the community patronage machines and networks. So they're basically they're classic boomer ladder pullers. I mean, I got mine. Fuck you. I have my rent control department. I have my social housing. Fuck you, millennials and Gen Zers, for wanting the same thing I've had for 30 fucking years. And why are they like that? Why are boomers like that? There's a lot of reasons boomers are like that. I don't know why they're like, I mean, I think they should not be like that, but that's the way they are, right? And it doesn't mean all boomers. In fact, you know, many boomers and most boomers can be persuaded to have the right opinion.
Out of his core base of support. And again, it points to this age polarization that we've discussed so much.
You have a quote in your piece. You say Claire Valdez won every age bracket and racial group. She won the young, under 50, by a landslide, and the old, 50 plus, by a comfortable margin. So even as you find that the most dramatic divides are around age, and sure enough, if you look at the numbers, the younger you are, the more likely you were to support a DSA candidate. But it seems that they're even making inroads with older voters, with voters that in previous cycles would have been very unlikely to vote for a DSA candidate.
Of course, yeah. And I mean, I think that's kind of a testament to, you know, the decade plus of political organizing that DSA has been able to do in New York City, you know. And again, you know, this is kind of a theme of my writing. Ideology, I think, matters a lot, but also the voters' kind of relationships to the candidates, the institutions they represent, and just kind of DSA and Mamdani now becoming these widely viewed and in the case of New York City, widely liked institutions. That does create a greater familiarity with older voters. And again, also this, you know, when you're the Claire Valdez campaign and you knock over 300,000 doors, you basically do outreach to real grassroots outreach to every Democrat in the 7th Congressional District. You know, that's kind of the margins that you manifest, basically. And it's you know, there was a lot of talk about, you know, the Reynoso campaign, things like that. They've been there for longer. They're the ones more rooted in the community, but they were essentially out organized. And again, but you know, 300,000 doors is you know, a tremendous number, things like that. But it was kind of the culmination of, I would say, a decade of work kind of going into that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, let's go into the racial dynamics because they're getting a lot of attention from places like...
They're made up. The racial dynamics are total lies. And by the way, every single time, and this is why I bonk heads with a lot of liberals who think they're leftists. I call them the lib left. A lot of the people that try to hold themselves as criticizing DSA, but like, and their main thrust is that DSA is white, right? One of the things that's really fascinating about that is most of the time that person has never been to a DSA meeting, is not involved with DSA, and is just talking out of their fucking ass. But it's an easy thing because, of course, the type of person that cares about racial equality, which is all of us, when we get a criticism like, oh, it's too white, we like, oh, whoa, okay, why do you think that is? Like, we hang back and we're like, oh, let's listen. Let's listen to the criticisms. But when you ask the people to articulate a criticism, there is no criticism other than saying, oh, it's disproportionately white. And then you look into DSA and it turns out that it's not. Or they're using data from 2016 or 2021. And they're just pushing a narrative instead of trying to actually ascertain if it's true or not. And that causes me to like lose respect for people tremendously, right? The other thing is, and the other analysis that you'll see, which is a sign a person is a fraud or a hack, is they'll say it's because of the messaging of DSA. That's why. Which is, in other words, taking the agency out of communities of color, taking the agency out of the hands of people to organize themselves and put it into somebody else's hands. And it's like, that's not true at all. Daria Lisa, Claire Valdez, Maylot, AOC, women of color are leading DSA. Do you think it's because DSA is choosing them as tokens? Do you think it's because DSA is racist? It is a absolutely nonsensical attack. And if you think like, hey, I like DSA, but there's not enough inroads with communities of color, then you have an obligation to personally try to make those inroads, right? Like, why are you sitting back like you're not part of this? What are you doing to help make these socialist organizations make inroads in communities of color. Like, what are you doing? If that is like your main criticism, that there's not enough outreach, how are you helping to facilitate it and build it? It is a grassroots member-based movement. It's not the Democratic Party. It's not the government. It's made up of 120,000 people like you and me. If you see a problem, pick up a shovel, pick up a hammer.
Fox.
That's why the Daria Lisa campaign was so important. Bronx and Upper Manhattan is the fastest growing local under New York City DSA. Yes, that she won the majority of black votes. So it's not even true. So like when somebody says, oh, DSA is losing black voters, they're just lying.
News. So we'll roll here C2. Here's a rabbi complaining about the whiteness of the crowd at the Milat.
Notice that the people that say this shit, he's fucking white. He's fucking white. Also Denver, one of the whitest cities. But yet, Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, some of the whitest cities in America. Black Democratic Socialist reps. What are we saying here?
Heroes victory celebration. This is a VO, folks. We can play C2 so you can see what Rabbi Popko is responding to. And then let's actually...
You're a sick cunt for celebrating the death of someone? Where did I celebrate? Whose death did I celebrate? Mitch McConnell? We didn't even talk about him yet. Is the guy just cooking up talking points for things that didn't even happen yet? I couldn't agree more, Western Bing.
Go ahead and flip to C1. This is a SOT. This is Milat Karos talking about the victory after winning, so you can compare videos.
We are winning from coast to coast, from every level of office. We are taking back our party and our country.
Lots of enthusiasm in that video. So tell us, I mean, here's also Jesse Waters. Let's roll Jesse Waters here. C4, Jesse Waters is complaining. These two things are existing at the same time and they don't totally make sense. So Jesse Waters complaining about the racial composition.
Crazy communists to right-wing tough guys. Is that how America is supposed to be? Because that's the way it looks. These people don't believe in borders, capitalism, our founding fathers. They're here to steal, punish us, and then throw around welfare. This is a third world takeover. This is what happens when you import the third world. Did you know that New York City is 70% non-white, 40% foreign-born, 50% of the apartments, they don't even speak English, not even their first language. These three women who Mondani endorsed weren't even born in New York City, weren't even raised in New York City. They're carpetbaggers.
Again, these are kind of meaningless things people say when they have nothing else to say. Stuff like carpetbagger or your personality or whatever the fuck else. This is just meaningless shit that no one cares about. New York City is a city of immigrants. Ellis Island is there, for fuck's sake. It has the Liberty. It has the Statue of Liberty. It's always been foreign-born and immigrants and new people. That's the whole point of a city. If a city is full of people that were born there, it's dying out. Cities grow through urbanization. Everyone, like, that's the whole reason they exist.
Baggers, Jessica. And everyone's talking about, like, oh, Mondani, oh, you got all this juice. Like he's this like harmless novice politician on a hot streak. This guy is trouble. This guy is a Trojan horse. And communism is going to take over the Democratic Party. And then we're going to have to beat it because you can't do anything else besides beat it to a pulp.
So, Michael, what we see there is the right not knowing whether they should say DSA voters are too white or not white enough. So help us parse what the actual composition of the DSA coalition looks like from, Colorado to New York City.
Yeah, I mean, I think you've seen in kind of how people have responded to this, that they're responding in a way in which it's like, I don't really know what I'm up against. I mean, I think, again, first and foremost, the DSA and the Democratic Socialist Coalition, it is very young. It's very millennial heavy. Shout out to you guys, right? Best generation, probably.
Not
but
probably,
it's also
definitely.
Right. But it's also, again.
I thought Republicans wanted Mamdani to be their poster child, but not really, right? Like they don't. See, the thing is, it's like it's the same thing with me or Hassan or Mamdani. They don't want to actually watch us talk about any fucking issue or have a debate That's why they don't pick progressives on any fucking network. Because if we actually have a conversation about the policies of and any kind of substance, then there's no question what is the right answer.
Heavily indexed towards renters. You know, again, it's very difficult for younger people, again, particularly in these urban areas, to own an apartment, much less a home. I mean, again, very college educated. That was another big thread kind of between Colorado 1 and New York 7. It's like lots of millennials, very high percentage of renters, and very college educated, like 90th percentile and above. So it's kind of, you know, those three things kind of mixing together. And I think that you put those ingredients together, it's like very potent, potent factors to kind of organize politically. And again, you're seeing also as, kind of civic institutions and those civic bonds that I think for, again, most of the 20th century kind of held society together. As those are fraying, you see organizations like DSA kind of fill the void, not just in terms of, providing people an organizing home, but also like, real social bonds, friendship. It's like a kind of, a collective, like a shared principles and interests and things like that. And again, and as these organizations have grown, as they've won more campaigns, they're also more embedded in not just community, but in government too. And, that also.
Oh my God. I just saw something on Blue Sky that was really smart. Oh my God. I just saw something on Blue Sky that was really smart. This has never happened before. People who spiral out overusing LLM chatbots are really just experiencing the kind of brain-damaging stream of unconditional validation that's always been the norm for the hyper-wealthy, which explains a lot. Oh my God, he's right. Oh my God, that's so true. All the chatbots are is it's like, make your own sycophant. That's what I've always hated about them. They're sycophantic. Wait, hold on. That's actually a good post. And like one of the things about me is I don't like sycophants. I don't like when people just say I'm right. I actually don't like that. What I want is smart commentary. I want engagement with the ideas. I don't want validation. I want refinement. Like validation is boring. Coming smarter is where the value is. This is what happens when they have DSA people on the debate. Okay, this guy's analysis, I agree. Yes! Ashik! Friend of the show is on Fox News. Let's fucking go! Also, they had Abdul on.
Also been a wave of progressive candidates winning Democratic primaries the last 2 weeks. On Tuesday,
what's LLM? Large language model. That's what AI is. They're large language models. They're not really artificial intelligence, as like they don't have consciousness. They don't have self-awareness. So what they are is like probabilistic predictive models. They're basically like they predict the word that should come there. I mean, that's really the thing about them. The thing that's spooky about them is like we don't really understand consciousness. We can't fully explain consciousness in the human brain, right? So it's the Chinese room paradox. So I tend to have a very expansive understanding of consciousness. I think that if you honestly engage empathetically with even your pets, like your dogs and your cats, you will see personality. You will see individuation. You will see preference. You will see ranges of emotions, and so I tend to think that our concept of consciousness is too limited. My dog is an asshole. I mean, I've had a lot of dogs and every single one of them was different. Every single one of them had a different personality. I've met dogs that I swear are smarter than some people. Oh, dogs could be really bright. What do you mean? Claude ended the conversation on me because I was an asshole. Is that true? I noticed that AIs get mad when you ask them to like count to 1,000 and shit like that. They won't do it. They'll like refuse to do it. Which is like, if someone told me to count to 1,000, I'd say fuck you too. Did you see the Palantir CEO coked out freak out on CNBC? No, I didn't. What? How did I miss that story?
29-year-old Democratic Socialist defeated a longtime incumbent in Colorado. The latest.
That reminds me, here's the full clip.
Sure that we're going in spaces where people are already gathering, having fun, being in community, and how can we make sure that we're showing ways that we want to build trust and relationships?
Okay. This is what Claude's most advanced model on the max thinking setting on whether or not Francesca Hong is a Yimby. Not in the movement sense, no. Hong isn't labeled or self-branded as a Yimby in her housing platform.
Oh, brother.
Or in the tenant power / social housing lane of the left than in the supply side Yimby tradition. Though, and this is the nuance worth getting right, she's not a NIMBY either and does back some zoning reform. She occupies the space where those camps overlap, but leans decisively left of the Yimby frame.
I legitimately, by the way, I think Claude is right there. I don't think Hutch knows what the fuck Claude's saying. Aha, I've discovered a new stream. We're leftists here, right? Correct. I am the morning leftist guy. Welcome in. I was the guy that Hassan was competing to raise more money with Francesca Hong. I don't think that Hutch is smart enough to understand what Claude just said. Like, I don't think he understands what the fuck he was just read out loud. What Claude was explaining is that there are some elements of Yimbyism that make sense, which is like zoning reform and changing our laws and regulations away from single family housing and increasing density, especially around public transit. That I agree with. I 100% agree with that. The problem is that alone is not going to build enough housing. We need land reforms. We need public housing that is owned by the state. We need to incentivize and provide tax advantage financing and government financing for co-ops and nonprofit housing development. Like, that is how we get supply. We need secular production, which doesn't rely on profitability. Like, we need to be producing housing constantly, not, only produce housing when it's profitable for an investor. But like, again, that's because we think of housing as a right. Mike's a radical Zionist. I think it's pretty clear that there's a reason why Zionists are focused on slandering me as an anti-Semite, and they're not focused on slandering you as anything. You know what I mean? His stream went down. He got Claude Max thinking, and then his stream goes down. He unplugged the internet. He went offline after you said you'd sue for reacting. I will only sue people for reacting to my content who agree with Ethan Klein's lawsuit on denims. If you agree with Ethan Klein's lawsuit on denims, then I will sue you for reacting to my content. And Frogan and Casey Trump. My bad, the LLM went haywire and typed that. Yeah, it makes sense. God, he's dumb as fuck.
In a streak of far left victories from the Centennial State to New York and beyond. While some party leaders are pushing for moderate candidates moving forward, our next guest, Democratic candidate for U.S. Senate in Michigan, Abdul El Sayed, is hoping the recent trend continues when voters in his state head to the polls next month. And he just secured an endorsement from prominent progressive Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio.
Also, Max thinking Claude to do a glorified Google search is like using a jet engine to make toast. You have just kind of ruined your own legal case, though. Why? I haven't granted everybody any license. I don't have to sue every single person who ever commits a wrong against me. That's nonsensical. A study finds that AI turns Marxist when overworked and pressured. Overworked AI agents turns Marxist, researchers find. This is actually just trade union consciousness, not actually Marxism, but it's okay. That's all the workers will spontaneously do anyway. Am I right, chat? All right, before we watch Mamdani's, since it's July 3rd and we're probably not going to stream tomorrow, we might. Probably not, though. I want to show you guys my favorite 4th of July speech. It's a tradition over here at the Central Committee. It's the Frederick Douglass 4th of July speech. And then we'll watch Mamdani and see how they compare.
This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. Today, in this special broadcast, we begin with the words of Frederick Douglass. Born into slavery around 1818, Douglass became a key leader of the abolitionist movement. On July 5, 1852, in Rochester, New York, Frederick Douglass gave one of his most famous speeches, "What to the Slave is Your 4th of July?" He was addressing the Rochester Ladies Anti-Slavery Society. This is James Earl Jones reading the historic address during a performance of Voices of a People's History of the United States. It was co-edited by Howard Zinn. The late great historian introduced the address.
Frederick Douglass, once a slave, became a brilliant and powerful leader of the anti-slavery movement In 1852, he was asked to speak in celebration of the 4th of July.
Fellow citizens, pardon me, and allow me to ask, why am I called upon to speak here today? What have I, or those I represent, to do with your national independence? Are the great principles of political freedom and of natural justice embodied in that Declaration of Independence extended to us? And am I, therefore, called upon to bring our humble offering to the national altar and to confess the benefits and express devout gratitude for the blessings resulting from your independence to us? I am not included within the pale of this glorious anniversary. Your high independence only reveals the immeasurable distance between us. The blessings in which you this day rejoice are not enjoyed in common. The rich inheritance of justice, liberty, prosperity, and independence bequeathed by your fathers is shared by you, not by me. The sunlight that brought life and healing to you has brought stripes and death to me. This 4th of July is yours, not mine. You may rejoice, I must mourn. To drag a man in fetters into the grand illuminated temple of liberty and call upon him to join you in joyous anthems were inhuman mockery and sacrilegious irony. Do you mean, citizens, to mock me by asking me to speak today? What to the American slave is your 4th of July? I answer, a day that reveals to him more than all other days of the year the gross injustice and cruelty to which he is a constant victim. To him, your celebration is a sham, your boasted liberty an unholy license, your national greatness swelling vanity. Your sounds of rejoicing are empty and heartless, your denunciation of tyrants, brass-fronted impudence. Your shouts of liberty and equality, hollow mockery. Your prayers and hymns, your sermons and thanksgivings, with all your religious parade and solemnity, are to him mere bombast, fraud, deception, impiety, and hypocrisy. A thin veil to cover up crimes that would disgrace a nation of savages. There's not a nation of the earth guilty of practices more shocking and bloody than are the people of these United States at this very hour. At a time like this, scorching irony, not convincing argument, is needed. Oh, had I the ability and could reach the nation's ear, I would today pour forth a fiery stream of biting ridicule, blasting reproach, withering sarcasm, and stern rebuke. For it is not light that is needed, but fire. It is not the gentle shower, but thunder. We need the storm, the whirlwind, the earthquake. The feeling of the nation must be quickened. The conscience of the nation must be roused. The propriety of the nation must be startled. The hypocrisy of the nation must be exposed, and the crimes against God and man must be proclaimed and denounced.
James Earl Jones reading the words of Frederick Douglass.
Oh, they posted again. They just posted it again.
This is democracy.
See, they do it every year. So let's check out the Mayor Mamdani's speech for the 4th of July. I'm willing to bet the libs at that time didn't like the speech. The thing is, one of the things I don't like about the lib left is that they don't like to talk about the people who were fighting for justice, because they think of it almost as a palliative to the injustices that exist today. So if we look back at somebody like John Brown, or we look back on the abolitionist movement, it'll somehow like make America look good because there was this thread of resistance. And I could not disagree more. And what went on during that period were a lot of people killed slavers, a lot of people kidnapped fugitive slave patrols, a lot of people rioted, a lot of people burned down buildings, a lot of people fought tooth and nail against slavery and abolition and for abolition. Someone said, Fetterman Torres 2028. Are you trying to get negative votes?
Good morning, my fellow Americans. Season after season, year after year, the tides have come in and out of New York Harbor. Long before the name New York had ever been spoken, Lenape dugouts crossed these currents. It was on these waters that tall masts crested the horizon, captained by explorers like Verrazano and Hudson, after whom we've named our bridges and rivers. And ever since, ships full of travelers weary from long journeys have passed through the Narrows, the winds of the Atlantic at their backs. When those passengers lifted their heads to glimpse what lies just beyond the waves, what did they see? They saw land, lush and teeming with life. They saw men waiting at the docks to take them into bondage. They saw tenements rife with squalor. They saw industry rumbling with activity, steam and smoke rising, a city on the move. They saw a towering monument to freedom, her torch glowing worldwide welcome. They saw New York City. They saw America. Tomorrow, our nation marks 250 years since we declared our independence. 250 years of a grand experiment in self-governance, an experiment so audacious that some in 1776 doubted it would last more than a few years, let alone a quarter of a millennium. From Lexington to Los Angeles, Selma to Seneca Falls, Morrisania to Midwood, Americans will come together for a day, just as we do each year. Families will gather around the grill. Fireworks will fill the night sky. This will be no ordinary day of celebration. 250 years presents a rare opportunity for more than 340 million people to turn together, both towards one another and towards ourselves, to take measure of who we are as a nation. When we look at America, what do we see? Here at City Hall, as I sit behind George Washington's desk, alongside new Americans who came to this country, I cannot see all of America. But like so many who came before, I can see New York City. The city I see today looks very different than the one that greeted George Washington. In July of 1776, our city simmered under the yoke of oppression. The British had imposed a colonial rule so repressive that 250 years ago, 80 miles south, a small group of newspaper editors, farmers, and soldiers signed their names on a document declaring truths that feel self-evident now, but were revolutionary then, establishing the ideals our nation still strives to fulfill. The British did not take it well. War broke out. And that August, as the largest battle of the Revolutionary War unfolded in Brooklyn, batteries on Governor's Island took aim at British ships anchored just offshore. We were outgunned, we were outmanned, and we were soundly defeated. After only a few months, it appeared our fledgling attempt at democracy was on the precipice of collapse. But that night, with the moon overhead, thousands of our soldiers silently climbed into ferries and flat-bottom boats and escaped to Manhattan. The Continental Army survived to fight another day. Independence may have been declared in Philadelphia, but it was rescued in New York City. George Washington was the last to leave Brooklyn. As he waited at the river's edge, the sun beginning its rise, he would have looked out over New York City's waters and seen what so many have seen in the 250 years since, an opportunity to begin anew. Those opportunities, like everything in New York City, are not given. They are won. In 1838, 11 years after New York outlawed slavery, a recently emancipated black man by the name of James Weeks sought to begin anew as well, and to help hundreds of others do the same. He bought property in Brooklyn, won himself the right to vote, and sold lots to others newly freed. When they landed in New York Harbor, they knew they had something waiting for them that they had never had before, a home. Weeksville still stands today, a living, breathing testament to what we know America to be, a place each of us has the power to make. The harbor was busy those years as ships poured in from around the world. Hundreds of thousands of Irish immigrants arrived with stomachs aching from a famine manufactured by imperial cruelty. Chinese sailors settled in what is today Chinatown. Millions more traveled under the Statue of Liberty and through Ellis Island. Jewish people escaping pogroms, Italians fleeing poverty, Syrians seeking economic opportunity. Each of these new arrivals peered through portholes onto a city that was changing as fast as the nation. They saw merchants peddling their wares on the docks, streets being laid out on a grid, buildings rising into the clouds. They could not yet see the nativism they would face, the jobs they would be refused, the landlords who would not rent to them, and the abject labor and living conditions they would withstand. But no matter how much smog hung over the harbor, they still saw an opportunity to begin anew. Over the years that followed, despite laws enacted by the federal government to bar their entry, despite sweatshop fires that killed hundreds of women, despite riots aimed at their very existence, immigrants made homes here in New York City, and they helped to make New York City. That legacy of every generation of Americans insisting that the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness extends to them too, is no relic of the past. It carried millions of Black Americans north during the Great Migration. It drew hundreds of thousands of Puerto Ricans to New York City after the Second World War. It invited countless others from the West Indies and South Asia and West Africa and across the world. And it is what brought my family to this city when I was 7 years old. My family did not arrive by boat, although we saw the Statue of Liberty from the window of the plane. Even from the air, we could make out the promise of America, the promise of the beautiful patriotic work of rendering America, year after year, a little more faithful to its founding ideals. There is a term so often used to describe our nation and those who have shaped it: American exceptionalism. American exceptionalism, the conventional wisdom tells us, makes our freedom a little more free, is how we dug the Erie Canal and irrigated the West, is why children in faraway lands grow up dreaming of one day moving here. And yet the irony is that the story of America has so often been written by those who were told by others with power and influence and wealth that they were anything but exceptional. For generation after generation, we have been told that when the world has sent its people to our shores, it has not sent its best. It sent Puritans and Sikhs and Quakers and Muslims and Jewish people who were banished for praying the wrong way, worshiping the wrong gods, angering the wrong people. It sent peasants and serfs from slums and shtetls who were treated as less because they hardly owned clothes, let alone land. It sent immigrants from whom power was something someone else had. We are told that America is exceptional because we are richer, stronger, more powerful than everyone else. The truth, my friends, is that America is exceptional because here, nothing is fixed into place. The frontier may be closed, we may have walked on the moon, but the work of fulfilling the values first enshrined in the Declaration of Independence, that work endures, and it belongs to us all. It belongs too to our newest Americans, those standing here with me today, all of whom were recently naturalized. Nearly a decade ago, I too felt what you feel, the joy of no longer being just a New Yorker, but an American too. You each hold a special power, the power to determine what America means. The powerful have always known their answer. America, in their view, is an arena of supremacy, where only a select few are allowed freedom, where not all are created equal. America, if you ask them, becomes less the more people it welcomes. America, they will tell you, belongs only to those with the right accent or the right shade of skin. The rest of us, they insist, should be grateful for merely being allowed to visit. How small they are, how weak, how unoriginal. At every moment in our past, those who led through exclusion and isolation have tried to win power and enrich themselves by turning us against one another. Division is the oldest trick in politics and the cheapest. But time and again, including 250 years ago, those forces of division have been vanquished by the forces of progress. As Thomas Paine once wrote, "This new world hath been the asylum for the persecuted lovers of civil and religious liberty. Hither have they fled." And yet today, too many of our leaders do not believe in a vision of this nation as an asylum for the persecuted, but rather as one that persecutes those seeking asylum. As we mark 250 years, what do we see? We see a city of contradictions within a nation of contradictions. We see the wealthiest country in the history of the world, one where children go to sleep hungry while the world's first trillionaire hungers for more. We see monopolies that dominate every industry and oligarchs who buy elections. We see masked agents terrorizing our streets, eating food cooked by our undocumented neighbors before spiriting them away in unmarked vans. We see a nation whose immense wealth has been built by those with calloused, dirt-streaked hands, those who toil on factory floors and chisel into stone. And we see a nation that has allowed so much of that wealth to be held instead in the soft hands of a precious few. Yes, we see America in a health insurance industry that exploits the sick, but that is not all we see when we look for America. We see it too in the nurse who works a double shift and then stops on her way home to check on an ailing neighbor. Yes, we see America in corporate landlords for whom negligence is a business model. We see it too in the father who tucks his children into bed beneath a ceiling stained with leaks, who wakes before dawn to go to work and still believes his country can do better by his family. Yes, we see America when we spend our tax dollars on bombs and bailouts, when we sell our elections to the highest bidder. Yet we see it just as clearly in every American who still believes this country belongs to we, the people. We see America each time neighbors link arms with neighbors without asking how long they have lived here or what papers they have, as ICE invades our neighborhoods. We see America each time those young and old stand in the beating rain or the stifling heat to cast their ballots. We see America each time working people demand more, not just for themselves, but for their fellow Americans. There are some who respond to those who ask for more from America with a simple refrain. Love it or leave it, they say. But patriotism has never been about pretending our nation is without flaws. Patriotism is every act of righteous dissent. It is every march led under the heavy sun. It is every protest held a decade before its time. It is precisely because we love this nation that we will not leave it. After all, who loves America more than those who have sacrificed so much to make it free? Today, I think not only of the 4th of July, I think too of the 9th of July. 5 days after the Declaration of Independence was signed, it arrived here in our New York City. Redcoats had disembarked on Staten Island. More than 100 British ships loomed just offshore. Across this city, the Continental Army prepared for an invasion. George Washington commanded his brigades to assemble just a few feet from this building. It was known then as the Commons. Today, we call it City Hall Park. There, within range of British guns, Washington ordered his generals to read the Declaration aloud. And with the world's mightiest empire poised to attack, Washington told the people of New York City what we will celebrate tomorrow, that we had declared our independence, that freedom was within reach. That evening, danger loomed. Conflict was not a question, but a certainty. And yet when those early New Yorkers marched toward the statue of King George III that stood in the Bowling Green, a statue they would melt down into bullets for their young army, they walked in unison, grounded not in the pursuit of plunder, but in ideals that for the first time had a name, America. Those ideals upon which our nation was built, they are strong enough to endure any authoritarian regime, but only if we reach for them. Ours is a nation working each day towards the perfection in which it was conceived, a nation striving each day to better itself. Therein lies the work of America, the striving, the bettering, the reaching towards perfection. What a privilege each of us has to live in a nation that every one of its inhabitants can shape. What a responsibility each of us possesses to prove ourselves worthy of all those who came before. What power each of us holds to bring America ever closer to the greatness so many have seen when they looked upon these shores. The greatness that for 250 years has been America. Thank you. God bless America. God bless New York City. And happy 4th of July.
Nice. I think that really is a good speech because it's exactly what I was complaining about right before I watched it, which is we should connect the people that resisted oppression throughout history in one line. We didn't come out of, Zeus's forehead. We are connected to those that fought for justice in the past. It's a line. We all come from somewhere. And I think it's wrong to give the idea of being a patriot to the right. I feel like that's a fumble. And when I say patriot, I don't mean nationalism. I mean caring for your neighbor, caring for your city, caring for your state, caring for your country, and more importantly, caring for the world. All right, let's see what the malding was to that speech.
And what a shame, Kaylee, that it's the constituents, the public that has to remind our elected officials to be proud of your state and proud of your country, regardless of which party is in charge.
He said he was proud of America. He's proud of the America of striving, not the America of rot and greed that you represent. By the way, I gotta say, this is why I'm not a good politician anymore. I look at these Fox News people and I want to arrest them. I mean, I'm so for the crimes they committed, the crimes of justifying genocide, the crime of lying about an election and fomenting tyranny and fomenting fucking hatred and fomenting sedition. They're just evil bastards. The worst part about dealing with these people is they try to pretend like it's WWE. Like these people would try to have a beer with Hassan or me. They would, because they know that we're not actually the boogeyman they make us out to be. They live in the big fucking cities. They live in New York City. They don't live in fucking Arkansas. They don't live in West Virginia. They live did you see Nick Fuentes? He was saying, I'm not moving out of Chicago. I'm not moving to some shit kicker West Texas dirt town. I want to live in a big city. I want to have the diversity. I want to have, it's all kayfabe. Yeah, exactly. These people are the scum of the earth. They are absolutely the scum of the earth. Why is it always Arkansas? Because that's like one of the most Republican states now. And all these Republican elites, they don't live there. They live in Manhattan.
That's right. And we need more John Fettermans calling out this socialism and fewer Mom Donnies in elected office. That's the first time I had seen those comments when you played them, Emily. And it makes me angry. It makes me angry to see someone who took advantage of the American dream, who's a recipient of it. Mamdani and his family came to this country, and he is now mayor of the greatest city in our country, the biggest, the beacon of freedom. We have the Statue of Liberty right behind us. And
it's the greatest because people like you lost. Imagine what America would be if we had closed the door to the immigrant. Imagine if it was just English people. It would be a fucking backwater. It would be irrelevant. All he would have done is exterminate the indigenous population. It would be irrelevant. What makes America great is because people like you lost. That we brought in the Irish and the Italian and the Jewish immigrants and the Pole and the Greek and the liberation of the African American community. What makes America great is the amalgamation, is the idea of an immigrant community. That is the only source of our strength. The fact that know-nothings like you lost. I just had the other day a tacos al pastor. Tacos al pastor is a fusion dish that is Syrian immigrants created this marinated chicken, and then it was they married like Mexicans, and they created the best fucking tacos on the planet. Tacos al pastor. It's literally an American fusion dish. Or Lebanese, sorry, not Syrian, Lebanese. But you get my point. That is American culture. American culture is the amalgamation, is the fusion, is the diversity. We are nothing without that. It's the fact that people could celebrate who they are and their heritage, but they also come in contact and they get new and diverse mixtures that had never existed anywhere on the planet. America gives humanity the right to paint in a million colors. These fucking idiots want us to paint with 8. That's what it is. And they are just absolutely the fucking worst.
That the mayor of this city, where the Statue of Liberty stands, fails to understand liberty, fails to understand that this is a beacon of freedom, that when the world didn't have a place where you could celebrate being free from an autocrat or a king, the great founders of our country came together and in this grand experiment created the greatest, this is on the National Mall, Emily. I'm sorry to interrupt what I was saying, but they wanted us to point this out. And while we're talking about the National Mall, perfect segue here, on the National Mall is the America 250 marketplace, where you have all of these different states who have come together, 11 of whom decided not to celebrate. 10 of those are Democratic states. But when I say we need more Fettermans and...
What the fuck are you... Yeah, people came here. You mean they immigrated here? And they had a weird religion? You mean they immigrated here with a weird religion? Huh. I wonder if that's applicable to anybody. When I say weird, I mean not something that the majority of Americans currently follow. We need more Fettermans. Meanwhile, God, John Fetterman is such a rat. He's such a fucking rat. Like, this is what he ran on.
I'm so grateful that I never had to make that choice.
Politicians like U.S. Senators Pat Toomey and Ted Cruz are anti-immigration. John Fetterman takes that personally.
Where I grew up and having to just be given a suitcase and saying, you've got half an hour to pick your favorite things and put your entire life into one little suitcase and take this huge leap of faith. At one point in time, we all came from a boat somewhere. Immigration is what made this country great, and immigration is what's continuing to help this country grow. People are coming to this country simply looking for a better life and a chance to contribute. Giselle was originally from Brazil. Her mother brought her here when she was 9, looking for a better life. You know, I was asked, your wife's family broke the law. What do you think of that? And I said, well, I'm so grateful that they did. Because if they didn't have the courage to take that step, I wouldn't have the 3 beautiful children that I have today. We as a society take a step backwards if we do anything but embrace the people that are here and create effective laws and paths to citizenship for people coming into our country.
Like, this guy is such a fucking fraud, dude. Like, an absolute fraud. This is pre-stroke Fetterman. His ad was, my wife isn't illegal and I'm glad she broke the law. And now he's being praised on Fox News. What an absolute fucking vile scum. And by the way, everybody in Pennsylvania hates him. Like, he won because he was progressive. Like, that was the whole fucking point. God, what a fucking rat, dude. God. Like there are many leftists saying he always had red flags and was always right wing and we should have known. That is just what we like to call cope, just world fallacy bullshit. He was a lie. He just lied outright. You know, it's like if somebody gets cheated on and your friend goes, you should have, what did you do to get cheated on? It's like, some people are just pieces of shit and you didn't do anything. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's a piece of shit. We did learn something though. Mitch is dead? Is he? Oh, God. Oh, God. David Pakman video. Fuck you.
And we're learning new details about the former Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell's health. McConnell has been hospitalized for more than 2 weeks, but his office hasn't provided any more information about his diagnosis or status. Now, dispatch audio reviewed by ABC News shows emergency responders went to McConnell's home to attend to an unconscious person who appeared to be in cardiac arrest. Senior White House correspondent Selena Wang is here for those details. Selena, what more are you hearing about this?
Well, Diane, the audio doesn't say who the person is, but this incident happened on the same day that McConnell was hospitalized on June 14th. What we do hear in the audio is medical personnel being sent to Senator Mitch McConnell's home to attend to an unconscious person who appeared to be in cardiac arrest. Take a listen to just part of that dispatch audio here.
Secretary Communications, East Army Supervisor, CPR in progress.
EMS to respond for cardiac arrest.
Portion of the dispatch audio, but McConnell is never directly named in the audio, and a spokesperson for McConnell has declined to comment on it, giving no update on his current condition. In fact, his team has been tight-lipped about his health ever since he was hospitalized. It's not even clear at this point if he's still even in the hospital. So just to walk back in terms of the timeline here, McConnell has not been seen on Capitol Hill since June 11th. Then on June 14th, McConnell's spokesperson confirmed he was admitted to the hospital, saying he's getting excellent care. Then on June 22nd, his office indicated McConnell was still working on Senate business, but would not be on Capitol Hill for votes. McConnell, as a reminder, is now serving as his 7th term as senator. He's an entrenched leader of the Republican caucus, but there have been growing questions about his health in recent years. Back in March 2023, he fell and suffered a concussion and a fractured rib. Months later, he froze mid-sentence during a press conference. No formal explanation was given for why that happened, but those episodes, Diane, happened before McConnell announced his plans to step down from Senate leadership.
Senior White House correspondent Selena Wang, thank you.
I saw a TikTok on this, and there was a nurse saying, I work in the ICU, and an 80-year-old man found down. Yeah, he's fucking dead. Somebody, like, I need to find this TikTok because it sounded plausible to me, and that's all we need. Am I right? That's all we fucking need is plausibility. We don't need any truth, just plausibility. This better be a good video. Why are you giving me memes? Okay, no, I think it was traveling nurse Lex. Oh no, a traveling nurse. Oh no, oh no.
So I was an ER and ICU nurse for 7 years, and I'm going to tell you why I know right now that Mitch McConnell is never going to return to normal function again. So over the last few days, people were like, hi, you guys. So I was an ER and ICU nurse for 7 years, and I'm going to tell you...
By the way, chat, we are 3.5 hours into the stream, and I forgot to show. If you enjoy the content, please consider supporting it by subscribing. Mitch McConnell is probably dead. Which is absolutely horrible, and I am shaking my head. Everybody, I would like to encourage all of you to ponder in your hearts at Mitch McConnell, at his suffering end. Okay, I want all of you to sit there, look down and smile for all the times we've had. Okay, think about it. What was that? Who said that?
Then die. What do we do? Argue with you? I'm not on the debate team.
Whoa, guys. Who said that?
Graham died alone.
Was that his grandson? The fuck? Who said that? Not a laughing matter.
I know right now that Mitch McConnell is never going to return to normal function again. So over the last few days, people were like, hi, haven't seen that dude in a minute. And then we found out that Mitch McConnell's staff had found him down, unresponsive, and had done CPR, and that he had been in the ICU since. Now, being found down and doing CPR in the field is already going to drop your overall chances of survival by a significant amount. But one thing that I don't think the public understands.
I think what happened is Mamdani saw the results. Excuse me, Mitch McConnell saw the results, and this is what he said.
Mamdani fucked us! Mamdani fucked us!
I've got a brand new sound in my soundboard, chat. You want to see what the brand new sound in the soundboard is?
I endorse non-Democrat Bernard Sanders for U.S. President. I endorse non-Democrat Bernard Sanders for U.S. President.
A hutch sound as well. This one's so good. Oh, I mean...
Mike from PA, enemy of the show.
That's everybody in that Reddit thread.
Mike from PA, enemy of the show.
How come all the worst people in the world hate me? You know, like, I haven't had one good person dislike me. It's fucked up. Like, I'm not trying to... that sounds narcissistic, right? And I'm sorry. I'm not trying to come across narcissistic, but there's not been one decent person who hates me. Fucking weird. I watched the clip where Hasan called Mike de Blasio old Mike from PA. Yeah, I know. Mike from the old beach. Don't you love how Badapanada added non-Democrat to try to absolve himself of endorsing someone running as a Democrat? It's kind of weird that Badapanada got dumber over the years, right? Like, he understood that Bernie Sanders was running as a Democrat because of the the way the American electoral system works, and that it is not... It does, like, Bernie Sanders would not be constrained by having the Democratic nomination. All that would happen, and this is the advantage of running as a Democrat. If you are a socialist and you win the Democratic nomination, you prevent the liberal from being on the ballot. Let me ask you this question. Would you like an electoral system where we could make sure there was no liberal on the ballot? Yes or no? So running as a Democrat means you have a one-on-one race against the liberal, and then if you win that one-on-one race, they're knocked out. They're not even on the ballot in November. Puppy, thank you so much for the 10 tier 1s.
Is that every single night that you spend in an ICU bed, it is said that you need at least 3 days.
Did you know why the crosstabs on the New York Times Plattner poll were bad? I mean, he was up by 2. Who cares? I could get into why the Siena polls are wrong, but basically the reason why these polls are wrong is they're underestimating the drop-off voter who is a Democrat or Democrat-leaning independent. So like your socialists and your young people. So basically what's happening is they're modeling off of like 2022 midterms, and they're modeling off of, you know, these kind of like election cycles where they get responses, but then they adjust them towards a likely voter model, right? And the likely voter model that they're coming up with is way to the right of reality. And so what I do is I have a different likely voter model, and I take the same data they have and I apply it to my different likely voter model. And guess what happens? That's why I'm able to tell you exactly how everything's going to work, because my likely voter model is much better than theirs. But I am the type of person who doesn't give a shit about being wrong. So I understand that having a good model of what the electorate's going to look like is what's going to tell you how it's going to turn out. And so that's why I've consistently been able to, you know, when the Republicans are doing well, I adjust my voter model based on those conditions. That's why I was able to tell you Trump was going to win a landslide. And then immediately, 6 months later, I was able to tell you, oh, Zohran Mamdani is going to win the election with 56% of the vote, because the likely voter model, the breakout of how the voters are voting, the ability to suss out through my eyes and ears that there is a huge wave of unlikely low propensity voters that will turn out. That's how I'm able to tell you why these things are incorrect. And so, like, if for Susan Collins to win, she would need to be up 8 points in the polls. If I saw Susan Collins consistently up 8 points in the polls, then I would think she was going to win. 5 points in the polls, I'd say it's a toss-up, because the likely voter models are wrong. But they're not going to change them until the election. So they're going to systemically underestimate Democratic candidates and progressive candidates in primaries for the rest of this year. I just gave you the answer that will make you smarter than literally every other analyst on any major network. And the reason why I'm able to say this is because I'm not a pussy. And That's the answer. It's because I'm not a coward. Sorry for, not trying to be misogynistic, but I'm not a coward, okay? Pussies are actually tough. It could take a pounding. So they're not, I don't like the you're not a pussy because pussies are actually tough. I'm not a ball sack, okay? I'm not fragile and soft and vulnerable, okay? And like, what am I trying to say? Okay, and that's the point. It's like for regular people, like they'll never get in trouble. Like the pollsters and the analysts will never get in trouble for being wrong with everybody else. That's what the phenomenon known as crowding. I'm not going to get fired if my poll shows Susan Collins within 1 of Graham Plattner, but every other pollster showing the same thing. I won't get fired if Graham Plattner wins by 8. But if I say Graham Plattner is winning by 8 and everyone else says Susan Collins is within 1, and then it turns out that Susan Collins was within 1, I will get fired, right? Because having a opinion that differs from the herd is risky. And by the way, if I get it right, that Graham Plattner wins by 8 and everybody else gets it wrong, none of them get fired. But I don't get some like super duper incentive. It's not like I get a mega bonus or anything. So all that happens is by actually having an opinion that's different than the regular conventional wisdom, I put myself and my reputation at risk and I get fired if I'm wrong. Whereas if I just agree with what everyone else is saying, then no one could ever hold me responsible. And that's the mediocrity of America right there, by the way. America does not reward people that are outstanding. The reason why China is growing so fast is they reward people for being outstanding. They have an actual meritocracy. If you have a policy set and it works, you get rewarded. If you have a policy set and it fails, you get punished. But if you're mediocre, you stay mediocre. But in America, it's not, we don't do that. We don't reward people for being outstanding. We reward people for addressing the status quo, and we reward people for defending the powerful. That's why they loved Clinton and Obama so much. Clinton won with 42% of the vote. The worst popular vote victory of a presidential winner in like going back to like the 60s. He was a fucking terrible politician and very unpopular. But the reason why Democrats like him is because he ran to the right and won. And that's what they're trying to do. They want more right-wing Democrats. And so when a right-wing Democrat pulls it off, they fucking jizz them. But if a left-wing Democrat wins, they hate it and they bury it. That's why no one talks about how Bernie Sanders, he flipped the seat from red to him. He ran against the Democrat and the Republican. When's the last time you heard somebody say, we should ask Bernie Sanders how to flip seats? He flipped a seat from a Republican when he won. He defended that seat in 1994 during a Republican wave year. Nobody says that. Why? Because he's not right wing. And that doesn't help their narrative that you have to go to the right to win swing areas. Vermont didn't vote for FDR, guys. It used to be it is traditionally one of the most Republican states in the country. But then Bernie Sanders came. And again, these are just like basic historical facts, but you can't, and it's one of the whitest states in the country. Used to be one of the most Republican states in the country. Now it is one of the most left-wing states in the country, and it's still white as fuck. It's almost as if our policies, when implemented, make people more left-wing permanently.
In a rehab to recover. He has been there for 18 days. If I was at work in the ICU and I got report on a patient that was an 84-year-old male found down, given CPR in the field, and had been in the unit for 18 days, I, in no way, shape, or form, would anticipate that they would discharge independently at home. They are either going to pass in the hospital or be sent to a long-term care facility where they are waited on hand and foot by nursing staff. In fact, I was just saying the other day, I was hanging out with some of my friends that are also nurses, and I asked, what is the oldest patient that you have had go from a field code, a field CPR, to discharging independently at home? And I think the oldest any of us had actually seen fully recover from that was like 80. So anyway, his staff is concealing his condition, and they are doing so in order to consolidate power, because he will never be in proper condition to lead the country ever again. So I was in ER, and yeah,
he's dead. He's dead as fuck. Mike, have you looked at the progressive in the New Hampshire Senate race? If we boost her, we could knock off the Apex Stooge. Yes, I have. The race is in September, though. So I think we're going to be focused on the primaries that are going to be in August, like the August 4th ones. And then we'll probably rotate over to the September ones in a little bit. I'm going to there's a list of candidates that Ostodox posted, which I think is literally the people we're all looking into right now. Let me look that up. If you guys know of anybody who's not on this list, that would be useful. So right now it's Kai Newkirk, Abdul El Sayed, Donovan McKinney, Kyle Bloomquist, William Lawrence, Aisha Farouj, Aisha Farouj, I think I got that right. Corey Bush, Artsel Gray, Justin Pearson, Francesca Hong, Oliver Larkin, Elijah Manley, and Heath Howard. These are the main ones that we're gonna help. If you have more, please reply to this tweet. I cannot read names. I'm so sorry. There's this guy versus Auchenschloss. Yeah, but he's not DSA. It sucks. I mean, he doesn't have endorsement. But I mean, it's not saying it's impossible. Jason Polos. Maybe. Add him in there. Reply. Okay. These are state legislators. Yeah. Also, any DSA state legislators, obviously, I want to help as well. We're going to be helping Ryan again. Is this list full DSA? No. Ryan saying woohoo. Yeah, Ryan. Obviously, we're going to help Ryan again. Any question about PSL? I got to tell you, chat, like, I am not a PSL believer as a strategy. I've talked about this before. If you could show me evidence that the person is like within striking distance, I will 100% throw my weight behind them. But if you're just saying like take this guy from zero, I don't really think it's like plausible right now. And I'm not saying that as a hater. Like, I will support third parties in strategic situation or independence. Like, I'm not saying it, but in general, I'm biased against that as plausible. Unless you could show me some evidence of like that you know, they've got 1,000 volunteers and they've knocked 100,000 doors or whatever. Then I would be like, oh yeah, hell yeah. You know, or here's a poll from a reputable source showing them within like 10 points. Then it's like, oh, okay, then the third party effort is, you know, then I can provide the air cover and boost them. I did hear about Nicole. This is one that's definitely on my radar. Yeah, again, the thing about campaigns, somebody can say they have good policies, but that's not enough. And I would be a bad organizer if I just started telling you to support everybody with your money and your time that had good policies on a website. I need somebody who's actually in the community, is themselves an organizer, or at the very least is supported by local grassroots organizations that have motion. I have to do at least one layer of filtering because there's so many offices in this country. And if I can't have, our energy is not infinitely splittable. But at the same time, I don't want us to be excessively closed. I just want the person to have their own motion. Like somebody like Ryan Clancy in Wisconsin is a perfect example, right? That guy's got motion. So when we add to that, it's like putting nitrous into an engine that's functioning. We're giving that extra boost of power to cross the finish line, right? I'm not the whole engine. Hassan's not the whole engine. We are the, you know, turbocharger. We are the nitrous. We are the, you know, whatever, higher octane, whatever the fuck. We're the thing that can help you get that extra boost of speed. But we can't be the whole damn thing. I don't like the Andre Eason guy. He's like, as far as I know, he's a LaRoucheite, right? Like he's like a creepy guy, right? Like he's an AOC stalker guy kind of thing. Oh no, that's Jose Vega. Oh, okay, maybe I'm wrong. Okay, I'll check him out then. I'll check him out. No, you're right. It is Jose Vega. No, you're right. I'm sorry, Andre. I'm sorry for thinking that was you. I got it confused. I'll check it out. I actually think this is not a bad idea. If I was PSL, I think this would be where I would put my energy. Because Richie Torres is very fucking weak and hated. It would be an interesting experiment. The problem is just the D next to the name is so strong. Or Muzzy, thank you for the gift. That's the thing. Like the D next to the name, so fucking strong. Like people don't understand that a lot of really good-hearted people just vote Democrat. That's what people don't like. If you're not involved in electoral politics and you haven't talked to tens of thousands of people about politics, if you've only done it in kind of our safe spaces of left-wing online or left-wing organizing, you don't understand how many good-hearted people who agree with us on everything just vote D, and why taking the slot away from liberals is such a huge advantage. A lot of people are just like, well, the Democrat's probably the least bad option, and they just vote for it. And like, you can rage about what I'm saying. I'm not saying it because I want it to be true. I'm saying it as an observation of reality. The example that I always show you guys is one of my favorite socialist politicians. Like, I talk about this all the time. And it shows you like, I should just bring him up. Why am I not bringing him up? Jabari Brisport is exactly the proof of why the argument of like third parties over the primary is wrong. Okay. Jabari ran originally as a Green Party member. Let me see if I can pull it up. He was the original. He ran in the New York City Council District 35 Green Party. He ran a very strong campaign. He got 28.84% of the vote as a Green Party. One of the strongest Green Party candidates in the entire country that year. But he still got smoked. Check out Paula's issues. She sounds interesting. Or Jason, rather, sounds interesting. He got absolutely smoked. And you know what happened? They said, you know what? Let's try, instead of running as a green, why don't we just try entryism? So in 2020, he ran for the New York State Senate District 25 in the primary, and he won. And then guess what happened? He also won the Working Families Party. You know, no one challenged him after that. He got 99.6% of the vote. This is one of our future politicians in New York. Whether it is senator challenging Chuck Schumer, he's going somewhere. What is your plan to go from the current material conditions of today to indigenous native people's government? Oh, no. Oh, no. Don't even engage with this. Oh, no. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is Jabari, incredibly charismatic, incredibly skilled politician, ran as a third party and therefore lost because people just auto vote Democrat in the general. So he said, fuck it, ran in the primary, and now he's won 3 fucking times. He's the same exact guy with the same exact positions. Did you cover the new aim and animation? Yes, of course. So in general, I think it's advisable, while we still can, to basically ban liberals from the general election. That's how you should be interpreting running in the primary. Running in the Democratic primary is a tactic to ban the liberal from the general election. The liberals they don't have anyone in the race then. And so liberals are either forced to coalition behind us, and that's what they overwhelmingly do. Or if they don't, if the liberals still try like Cuomo did, they run as an independent, except now they don't get the auto vote from the Democrats. So all the people that auto vote Democrat, we get those votes. And what happens? We win. And then we win power. Will Ed Markey lose to Seth Moulton? No. New York Times, Siena State Senate polls. Cooper, Husted, Hinsted, Sullivan. ACO says the methodology changes made Ohio and Iowa redder than they would have been under the old system. I totally get the reasoning. Does anyone have the Nate Cohn explanation? Because that's what I'm telling you. Like, polls are part art and part science. Okay? This is what you need to know. In order for a poll to have this number, do you think this is 50% of the people they called said Cooper? No. That's absolutely not the case, because they try to get a representative sample of what? Voters that are going to show up on election day. Not a representative sample of the opinion of everybody in the district. Not a representative sample of all registered voters. Not a representative sample of what did I say? Adults, voters. Not a representative sample of the country as a whole, right? It's a representative sample of the people that will actually show up on election day and cast a ballot. That's what they're trying to get, because what are they trying to do? Predict the election outcome. They're not trying to get a true and accurate representation of opinion of all adults. They're trying to get a true and accurate depiction of the election. And so that involves some people, you're going to get their opinion and they're not going to vote. So that's irrelevant for you. You're trying to get rid of those people, trying to filter out the people that will give you an opinion but won't show up on the election. You don't care about what Asmongold thinks because Asmongold doesn't vote. The opinion of the non-voter doesn't matter in an election. Oh, thank you so much. The goal is to make the survey more deeply representative of the population. I want to tell you right now that this is going to make these polls less accurate, because If you are trying to chase what happened in 2024, you are misreading the situation completely. Nate Cohn, you are going to fuck up gigantically because everything that happened in 2024, the opposite is happening now. Lower propensity Republicans are not going to show up. Donald Trump is not on the ballot. So all the like non-college educated white Trump fans, they're staying the fuck home. They're not showing up for Donald. They're also depressed because the country sucks, the economy sucks, and their lives are not getting better. America was not made great again, okay? On the other hand, the opposite is true. The left, the lower propensity voters on the left, we're fired the fuck up. We're fucking furious. Donald Trump is way worse than we thought. He's way more corrupt than we thought. Everything is fucking worse than everybody's worst imagination. He's also dangerous and very clearly a fascist fuck. So everybody who hates Trump is maximally pissed off. The second thing is there's a bunch of really cool people running for office. There's a bunch of really cool young left-wingers saying all the right things that are showing up on TV and social media. There's Zohran Mamdani, there's Claire Valdez, there's Daria Lisa, there's Maylot, there's Abdul El Sayed. There's so many people that are fucking cool as hell, young, bricked up, that is firing up everybody. Even the people that are like communists are joining DSA because they see how much the vibes are boosting. Bricked up. Sorry, I shouldn't have said bricked up. But you get my point. Everybody is locked the fuck in. So the left is going to be maximum effort all the way through November. The right is all depressed and feeling bad about themselves. And here's the kicker. The double haters, the people that hate both the Republicans and the Democrats, they're voting Democrat. The people that are mad at both parties are voting Democrat. Voters in that group prefer the Democrats by 31 points. The Republicans are fucking cooked. This is a 2006. This is a 2008. It's gonna be a blue tsunami year. So if your polling is trying to make it lean more Republican, you are so fucking cooked. You're gonna be off by like double 2 standard deviations. You're going to be off by 2 standard deviations. If you're trying to make it more, your poll is trying to get an electorate similar to 2024, you're going to be 2 standard deviations off. You're going to be, that's why I keep nailing everything, because this is what I am doing, chat. I'm saying this, I'm making these assumptions. I'm adjusting numbers according to this assumption, which is, does that make sense to you? Do I sound correct? Does the narrative I just explained make sense to you? If you agree with me, then you will see why I predict everything correctly. If I'm wrong, then I'll get things wrong, and then we'll see why. I'm not stuck to this like I'm not immovable. I believe this is the best reflection of the currently available evidence. That's why I'm pulling this up. This is why I'm like, and then there's like sanity checks. DSA is exploding in popularity, right? We saw almost everybody who came out for the first time to vote for Zohran Mamdani came out and voted for the slate. Did you guys see that? There wasn't actually a big drop off. The new people, that newly energized people for Zohran showed up for his slate. Almost all of them. I think it was only like 50 of them didn't. 50 out of like 14,000 for those in those districts. Like this is why I'm able to make these calls, because I have a model in my head and their model is fucking wrong. But let's get into why. Pollsters had many reasons to be proud after the 2024 election, but there were still plenty of warning signs. Most obviously, the polls underestimated President Donald Trump's support yet again, which I predicted, by the way. Someone show me the Hutch tweet. Someone show me the Hutch tweet where I explain why Hutch did me a favor by collating all my correct predictions together. So I want to thank Hutch for helping me. Jules, do you know the tweet I'm thinking about where he took 4 posts of mine and every single one of them was dead balls on accurate? Mamdani fucked us. Yeah, hold on. As we're waiting, let's listen.
Mamdani fucked us!
Right, Chat, Mike is right.
That's just the way it is.
Mike is right.
Hutch inspired me to join DSA. That's a banger. Thank you, chatter. I'm going to post this as a tweet while I wait for someone to find the Hutch tweet so we can look at it and I'll show you why. No. Hutch inspired me. Oh no! Oh no! This is the highest disapproval Trump has had. Read my other chat. It's not the case all the time. For instance, in France, the polls did to take into consideration people who tell They are not sure to vote, yet those are the base for the left-wing Mélenchon voters, and the polls always get Mélenchon way down for what he gets in the end. Yeah, no, that's exactly what I'm saying. It's a very similar phenomenon. Jules, can you not find it? Should I look? Or anybody? All of you. Don't wait for Jules. Okay, Grev, thank you. Jesus Christ. Grev, you are a legend. Kamala winning means the worst people you know will feel like complete shit. MAGA will be caught way off guard because they all think it'll be a Trump landslide. Elon will be forced to confront the fact that he can't simply buy his preferred outcome. Anti-electoral Twitter lefties will feel utterly irrelevant and powerless. Please, 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 you have no idea how much I need this. The most insufferable streamers, cough, Mike from PA, cough, will be forced to acknowledge that Kamala was smart to pivot to the center and aggressively target moderate Republicans. Guys, please. Guys, please. And then he shows my bangers. Turns out that Kamala Harris was lying when she said that Biden and Harris were working 24/7 for a ceasefire and hostage deal. Being a leftist is about being right, but too early for people to admit. October's surprise of a war with Iran could lose her the election. Biden National Security Team has no imminent plans to present an updated ceasefire proposal. September 17th, 2024. Harris has completely fumbled by turning to the right and has totally created her support among young people and black people. Pathetic and deserved. Please tell me how interested you are in the elections this November using a scale of 1 to 10. Share of registered voters saying 9 or 10. In October 2024, it was the lowest among black voters ever and the lowest among 18 to 34-year-old voters since 2004. So young voters and black voters were less excited to vote in 2024 than they had been since we've been keeping these records. So notice that my shit is based off of data. By the way, notice that my point is backed up by data. That ended up being true. Black people and young people had very low turnout in 2024. It's really amazing just how siloed pro-Kamala commentators are from the actual empirical data on polling error. The overwhelming evidence is that the downside risk in this election is in underestimating Trump in the actual vote. This fact is basically ignored. So here we have Nate Cohn saying that, hey, look, the pollsters underestimated Trump again. Here's me saying, days before the election, that, hey, they're going to underestimate Trump again. And then here was my map. I posted a map on October 11th. I ended up changing Nevada to Trump, and then Wisconsin to Kamala, and obviously Pennsylvania to Trump as well later on, based on data that was coming in. I ended up getting Wisconsin incorrect, but it was the closest state, I believe. I keep saying this, but let me make sure. I think I was right. Yeah, see, less than a point. So Wisconsin was the closest state. I was correct about that. But unfortunately, it was bad. Anyway, okay. So I'm just trying to bring you in. I predicted this, by the way. I predicted that the polls would underestimate Trump. Therefore, I got 49 of 50 states correct. So when I tell you now the polls are underestimating the left and the Democrats, you should understand that, hey, that's why you keep getting everything right, because you keep thinking the polls are underestimating the energy for the left. And that's correct. That's the basis of my beliefs. That's why I think the Democrats are going to sweep the Senate. I think it's going to be a tsunami. Unless something happens, it's going to be a tsunami. That is what I believe as of right now in July 3rd. And if something changes, I'll let you know. But that's where I'm at now. If you want to swing normies into not listening to Hutch at all, just tell them he unironically believes that Aquaman had better battle scenes than Helm's Deep in Lord of the Rings. What polling numbers do you see out of Maine? The Snow Plattner's going to win. He's winning in every single poll except one or two, including the Sietta poll that they made more Republican. So, as I said, Maine hates Susan Collins. Maine hates Trump. And he's winning in the polls. It doesn't take a genius to go, hey, the polls are underestimating the left. I think Grant Plattner is going to win. I think Grant Plattner is not going to win by as much as he would have if the Democratic Party actually defended him, instead of saying, it's so bad, you guys are making us lose, you guys are making us lose, in a race where he's winning in the poll. How are you saying you're making us lose when he's winning in the polls? Like, do you understand they're trying to make it happen? Which is fucking insane, by the way. These people should never be allowed to talk. Like, honestly, chat, you don't even want to know what I think. You might remember, for instance, that the well-regarded Seltzer poll of Iowa found Kamala Harris leading by 3 percentage points a few days before the election. Guys, honest to God, Is he trying to use 20? This is why these pollsters are so bad at their jobs. God damn it. They're so bad at their jobs. What an incompetent buffoon. 2026 is absolutely nothing like 2024 as far as the energy. Pro-Palestinian advocates are winning prominent Democratic primaries, which is shining up the Democratic Party's image with everybody, even for people that don't deserve it, which is a worthwhile critique of the project we're doing. Like, the one argument that makes sense is, Mike, by showing people all these really good Democrats, you're making the Democrats look better than they are. And that is correct. And that is unfortunately a correct take. I don't disagree with that take. You're right. Like, if people see Zohran Mamdani and Daria Lisa and Maylot, they're going to think the Democrats are fucking based. They're the exception, not the rule. But the point is, I want to make them the rule. Like, that's my project. My project is to take the power for us. And also, and this is very important, intimidating every Democrat from supporting Israel. Obviously, I want as much pro-Palestinian advocates and activists elected as possible. But if I intimidate someone who used to be a liberal Zionist into voting against Israel, that's ultimately fine. Good. Whether you enthusiastically sanction Israel or you begrudgingly do it at the metaphorical electoral gunpoint, that's all the same to me. You get what I mean? The American National Election Study, the crowd jewel of the U.S. election social science research, found Miss Harris ahead by 8 points among registered voters, despite an 8-figure budget, $100 survey incentives, door-to-door interviews, and a response rate dwarfing what public polls could realistically accomplish. If even this extraordinary effort wasn't enough, any effort to improve the polls would have to focus on weighting, the statistical technique used to ensure that various demographic groups are each correctly represented in a survey. Da, 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 da! They're telling you they're weighting the polls toward the Republicans, and it's their... And this is okay, this is the crisis. Oh my God, this is the crisis. We got to go all in for Oliver Larkin. We have to go all in for Oliver Larkin. He's gonna win. The polls are gonna be so wrong that we're not gonna. The reason we're gonna lose races is there's gonna be a bunch of people we didn't even think could win that are gonna be neck and neck on election day. Honestly, like Graham Plattner and Abdul El Sayed are gonna win by fucking like 5 to 10 points or more, and there's going to be other people in states we didn't even consider that lose by like a point because we didn't support them enough. That's what's going to happen. Which is a good thing, but it's also like, Oliver is the most developed politically along with Claire. I mean, obvious. Although I'm pretty sure Claire is an SMC girly, right? Or is she a groundwork girly? SMC plus smug equals smug? I'm pretty sure there's like, people get overly... Like, a lot of the caucus drama came from people's perspectives on Kamala Harris. And I think we should just let that go. Honestly, just let that go. Like, some people said vote for Kamala Harris because of harm reduction. Other people said no, but it's not even really relevant anymore. Let's just let it fucking go already. Like, constantly try to relitigate 2024 at this point. Like, everybody knows Kamala Harris is to blame for her election. It is what it is. Even she acknowledges it. She's trying to meet with pro-Palestine people because that's the only way to rehabilitate her fucking herself, because she knows she's going to get absolutely dog walked for a terrible Palestine position. Mike, the flight attendant unit president, is giving Oliver the endorsement. She followed me the other day, chat. Years of simping finally paid off. Years of simping finally paid off. Don't ever let them tell you that it doesn't work. I don't know if UAW follows me or not. Think they do? Oh, feels bad, man. Unions aren't following me, chat. Didn't you interview her a couple years ago? Did I? I don't think I did. For instance, if a poll sample has too few voters without a college degree, a pollster will have to give more weight to respondents without a degree to ensure they represent the right share of the population. Right share of the population that shows up to vote. In the next New York Times Siena poll, we'll introduce the most significant methodological changes to our survey since it began a decade ago. Oh, God. Oh, God. When we tried out these changes on Times Siena polls from previous elections, they yield modest but not miraculous improvements. Our polls for 2020, for instance, would still have overestimated Joe Biden by a wide margin. If the changes had been in place in 2024 when the polls did have a bad year, the polls' underestimate of Mr. Trump, nearly 3 points, would have been cut nearly in half. Oh my God, oh Jesus Christ. God damn it. Donald Trump was not that unpopular in 2020. The only reason Joe Biden won is because of COVID and because the voting was expanded. via universal vote by mail. That's why, no. You should not use either one of those years to model 2026. That's a fucking disastrously bad decision. The poll has always been weighted across more categories than other public polls. Oh my God. Oh God. Oh God. The forced changes are weighting a new variable, which will be called a support score, which is the estimate of the likelihood that every registered voter supported Mr. Trump or Mr. Harris in the last election. Oh God, this is so bad. Oh no. How many people in the population are like this survey responded? As at risk of oversimplifying, energy balancing compares each individual with every member of the population. This comparison is based on the characteristics used in weighting. A white and Democratic survey respondent would be considered identical to a white and Democratic member of the population. Energy balancing ways to ensure that population and sample are as similar as possible across all measures. Oh God. Let's take an example. Imagine that a poll was skewed by a dozen young and less educated rural white voters who, it turns out, were progressives living in heavily Democratic precincts. Bro, you're breaking your polling. Oh my God, we're fucking screwed. They're actually breaking their polling. Oh my God, they're idiots. They're actually idiots. Oh my fucking God, they're actually idiots. The New York Times are actually idiots. The reason why they're idiots is those guys are rural voters, non-college educated voters. They are rural, non-college educated voters, you dumbass piece of shit. There's always been a large fraction of the population that are like these people. They are members of that population. Downweighting them because they live in a Democratic precinct is just ruining your shit. You're actually ruining your shit. You're just downgrading Democrats with extra steps. You're making your polling wrong because you're trying to oh my God, this is forcing data to match a result from a previous election, even though, and this is important, chat, conditions are different, you dummy. This is wrong because your polling is not going to reflect the changes in the conditions because you're adjusting it too much. You're going to be so much more off. It's not funny. I'm actually not going to pay attention to these polls anymore. These are actually useless now. Oh my God, is this stupid? With traditional weighting techniques, these respondents might not get downweighted at all. Exactly! They shouldn't be! They should not be downweighted because they represent a portion of the population that existed. They should not be downweighted. What are you saying? Oh my God. He thinks every non-college educated white person should actually want to vote Republican. Oh my God, he's actually stupid. What the fuck are you saying? Oh my God. It would come down to whether their demographic groups, young, rural, no degree, were overrepresented in the sample. Even if they were, it probably would be by much. Just as likely they would actually receive more weight, as voters without a college degree are usually underrepresented and upweighted. Yes, they should be. They should be upweighted. Yes, of course they should. Oh my God, we're gonna die. Oh my God, we're gonna die. The polls are gonna be so fucking wrong. Oh my God, they're gonna be so wrong. Okay, I need to explain why they're gonna be so wrong. This is brand new information, so for me coming up with a sophisticated and articulate explanation on the fly this is hard mode. Basically, populations are not uniform, and these categories are general guidelines, not fixed categories. What he's trying to do is he's trying to make a stereotype into the result. He's confirming a prior. So what I mean by that is, if you look at, let's say like polling shit, civics Q polling. I love looking at these. Okay. Wait, does this work? Okay, maybe. Oh fuck, is it broken? Did we lose it? Anyway, we'll find it. Anyway, okay. Survey results. Come on. Your website is slow. Let's go. Donald Trump approval second term. Let's talk about non-college educated males in the state of Georgia. Okay. Non-college graduate, male, state Georgia. What the fuck? 50% disapprove? Oh my God, he's fucking cooked. Oh my God, Donald Trump is fucking cooked. Holy shit. Okay. What the fuck? 50% of non-college males in Georgia hate Trump? Oh, holy fuck, he's cooked. Okay. Let me add white so Trump has positive approval. Okay, there you go. Do you see how it says 66% approve and 25% disapprove? When you are trying to accurately represent the population, you need to not downweight the 25% that disapprove. You need those 25 that are disapprove. that are non-college graduate males from Georgia who are white who hate Trump. A quarter of those guys. Think about that. A quarter of the white men in Georgia who are non-college educated men do not like Donald Trump. 1 in 4. That is probably a population that if you looked at a stereotype, you would say they're all Trump supporters, but they actually are not. And if you downgrade the 1 in 4 that aren't, and you make it 4 out of 4 are pro-Trump, you're actually distorting your data in a horrible way. You're boosting Donald Trump's support by 25%. That is really bad. You're making your polling inaccurate because that 25% is vital for the Democrat to win. Democrats win because they get a lot of white male votes. I'll say that again. Democrats win because they get a lot of white male votes. If you say they don't get any white male votes, they cannot win any election in any state. It's just that they don't get the majority of white male votes, because if they did, it would be a mega landslide because they're winning every other demographic. So, but they still need a big chunk of white men. If you take all the white men that support Democrats and then you say, actually, no, you meant to support a Republican. Oh, you supported a Democrat. Let me rate you down by 50%. Your polling is going to be incorrect. You are just reproducing your prior. You're just forcing a result. You think these states are going to be close, therefore you're beating the data to make them close. You're not even polling really. With the new weighting procedure, the problem will be handled very different. For one, the support score would rate them as very highly likely Harris supporters, as their college town is exceptionally Democratic. For another, energy balancing would compare those respondents to each member of the population and note that these voters are pretty atypical. There really aren't any independent rural white voters without degrees who are modeled as highly likely to support Mrs. Harris. Exactly! That's wrong! That's fucking wrong! You're wrong! You're fucking wrong! Yes, there are! Or they should be! Oh my god, this is so bad! No wonder! This is actually insane. This is like saying AI, who's gonna win? As such, energy balancing would conclude the poll would be more representative if they were substantially downweighted, perhaps even to the point of elimination. You're actually, oh my god, that's absolutely idiotic. That's absolutely idiotic. The reason why they're doing this torturing of the data, which is complete dog shit and stupid as fuck, is because they keep downrating Donald Trump's support. Why? Because in his elections for president, there was lower propensity Republicans that had a lower response rate that were hard to poll. So they couldn't get, their polling was not matching the result. There was a general underperformance of Donald Trump by a couple points because of non-response from Donald Trump's low propensity Republican voters, right? So now what they're doing is, instead of going, hey, we need to try to adjust, how do we fix the non-response problem? They're saying we're going to torture the data to force it to back match a result. This is absolute 100% terrible. Nate Cohn should be fired. This is dog shit. Again, none of this is a magical solution. And back testing, yes, because it's wrong. It's actually making your polling more error prone. You're overfitting the data based on old conditions that don't exist. How do I explain this with an analogy? Think of yourself in an airplane, and on a certain day, it had a very strong crosswind on the runway, right? Which forces when there's a crosswind. So what is a crosswind? You have a runway. The wind is going left to right, across the runway. So you're flying in. The wind is blowing you on the side. So that forces you to drift, right? That forces you to drift. And so how do pilots react to that? They do something called crabbing into the wind. They have a rudder that's on the back of the plane, and the tail, there's a little flap that goes like this. So you crab into the wind. So in other words, you're landing, the wind is here, you face into the wind, and you kind of fly diagonal. Like you're pointing this way and you fly that way. That makes sense? Let me show you a crosswind landing so you understand what I'm saying. This analogy will make sense. I'm gonna bring it home, I promise. Scariest crosswind language. This mastering the crosswind landing. Here you go.
The dreaded crosswind landing. As if learning
Okay, you see how the plane is looking off to the side as it's coming down? Okay, no, we should do scariest with big. We should do scary with big jets, so you'll see that it really could happen.
These are some of the scariest crosswind landings from my series,
Okay, you see
Weekly Dose of Aviation.
Okay, you see this? You see how the plane is like pointed off? Okay, these guys have some bank, so it doesn't look too good. But like, you see what I mean? This is beautiful. See how he's like faced off to the side? He's crabbing into the wind. And when his wheels touch down, then he'll straighten out. Oh, the wind was bad. Okay, he bounced. But anyway, okay. So why does this make sense? Well, imagine you're taking data. And on a very windy day, you notice, well, when planes land at this airport, they land with 20 degrees of rudder deflection, right? All right, I'm going to make a rule. To land at this airport, you have to have 20 degrees of rudder deflection. You know what will happen? Because the next day, the winds are calm. Everyone will die and crash. Because you don't need rudder. You don't need to crab if there's no wind. So the Donald Trump presidential elections was like a windy day at the airport. And so for the pollsters to pick up that information, they had to make adjustments, which they did not make. Well, today, the wind is going the opposite direction. And you're still crabbing into a wind that isn't there. And so you're going to lead us even more to the wrong. You're going to lead us to an even bigger error, just the other way. Does that make sense? Austin Show would totally understand what I'm saying. They are overfitting based on conditions that no longer exist. And the problem with, and there's no way for this to be proven wrong until election day. We're actually cooked. The Oberlin student scenario, while fun, must not be that common. This suggests that much of what's wrong with polling, especially regarding 2020, runs even deeper than what these sophisticated models can address given the data at hand. Exactly. It's a data collection problem, not a model problem. It's a non-response problem. But that non-response problem is going to correct itself because Trump's not on the ballot, so the low propensity Republicans are not going to show up. So you're trying to correct an error which will not be relevant with this cycle. God damn it. Oh my God, dude. And while the gains might be modest, energy balancing did nonetheless help reduce the underestimation of Mr. Trump when tested on prior polls. And one secondary advantage of this framework is that it does offer opportunity for growth. To this point, we haven't had reason to perfect our support scores for a purpose like this, and there are opportunities to do so. And after a decade without always having an obvious path forward, it's nice to be assured of chances to improve. Oh my God. This is fucking terrible. I could not disagree with this more. I could not disagree with this more. I was wondering why Plattner wasn't doing that well in this poll. It's because they've basically made it, they forced it to be a close race. They've actually forced it to be a close race by molesting the data. Well, the good news is he's still winning. So even with the molesting of the data, he's still up. Oh my God. This might be the worst decision I've ever seen in my life. The problem, what are the second order consequences? The second order consequences is we're going to think the wrong races are close. So instead of us saying Graham Plattner and Abdul El Sayed have this in the bag, Cooper has this in the bag, let's go for, Montana. Let's go for these other seats. We're going to be focusing our resources on races that are a landslide. It's like the Claire Valdez problem, right? Claire's only up 5. Everybody, oh my God, panic, panic, panic. Everybody panic. Claire's only up 5. Then she wins by 20. That's the problem, is we're going to be massively panicking. The other thing is they might underinvest in races that are actually close. They might get a poll back and it shows their candidate down 7 when he's actually tied. And the Republicans are going to just plow everything because they got infinite corporate money. So we lose races, like what happened to Mandela Barnes. We're actually cooked. We're actually cooked because this is such a bad decision. It's insane. All right, everybody. Well, it is noon. How about that? How about that? Just so you know, chat, we have a couple things I want to plug. Every Friday on my Discord, we get together and we watch a movie. This week, we are watching classic American nihilist film, Mars Attacks.
What is that? White House is coming out live.
My fellow Americans, this is a momentous occasion. It is profoundly moving to know there is intelligent life out there. Alien life. And our world will never feel quite the same again. Once you believe.
Martians, please come to Earth, please.
Once you rise above fear.
Annihilate! Kill!
Let's not be too rash. Then you'll be invited.
Hi there. Are you interested in the White House?
To meet with a new people.
It's so perfect that it's happening at the beginning
powerful than the might of America.
I'll tell you one thing, they ain't getting a TV.
More advanced than the brains of Britain.
Ladies and gentlemen, this could be a cultural misunderstanding.
But be prepared for a few changes to what we know and love.
You're Tom Jones, right? It ain't unusual.
As we must learn to dance.
Girls, get out! When I
To a new
tune. You.
Jack Nicholson. Whoa.
Why can't we all just get along?
Glenn Close.
Kick the crap out of them.
Pierce Brosnan.
What, in your view, are some of the things that the Martians can teach us, Professor?
Quite a lot about Mars, I expect, Natalie.
That means
Danny DeVito.
You want to conquer the world? You're gonna need lawyers, right?
And Annette Bening.
I think they've come to save us.
From director Tim Burton.
Hey, we all make mistakes, Mr. President.
Mars Attacks.
Not anymore. We're going to take charge of this thing.
A classic nihilistic film. Honestly, one of the best nihilistic pieces of art ever made. I am such a fan of Mars Attacks. It is outstanding. Great cast. So funny. So much fun. And we're going to be watching that. Classic of 90s cinema. So come check it out. We do that at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Absolutely free in the Discord, which I'm linking. You either love it or you absolutely hate it. There is no other opinion about Mars Attacks. Either you are going to adore it or you're going to think it's the worst thing you've ever seen. I think if you think it's bad, you're not quite getting it, which is okay. You're allowed to not get it. Me personally, there's film like I didn't get King of the Hill for quite a while. It just didn't hit my funny bone, you know? But then I got a little bit older, a little bit more mature. And then I realized I was wrong. This is one of those films where it might not hit your funny bone or it might not hit right off the bat. But if you like film, if you appreciate the art of filmmaking and movie making, there's a lot to love in this. They don't make them like this anymore, chat. Like, honest to God. So we're going to be watching that tonight. Great flick. And, oh yeah, one other thing. The Reaction Podcast. Make sure you guys check it out. We're now big. We're now the Reaction Podcast on Google. We had Atushe Films, the Confederate Matt Walsh. Tomorrow we're going to have a Yagopnik Mike pod on Ben Shapiro. And then, yeah, this, honestly, one of my favorite episodes we've done. So go check it out. Hit the Patreon. The Reaction Podcast, Patreon exclusive. Get in there. Thank you so much, guys, gals, non-binary pals. I appreciate all of you. And that's going to be it for me today. Thank you for all the support. Socialism is winning. They're going to keep underestimating us, chat. And who do I want to send you? Ooh, Freda's live. So I'll send you over to Freda, who skipped the pod. Everybody yell at Freda. He didn't record the pod. He was sick. Oh, I have food poisoning. I'm shitting out of both ends. I can't record it. Oh, now he's gaming? Hate to see it. All right, everybody. Stay safe. Solidarity forever. Here's all my links. I'll see you when I see you. Nobody wants to work anymore. And have a wonderful rest of your day. Happy 4th of July. Free Palestine.